The Game. Brought to you by BMW Fairfield.
Oy, oy, oy! All right, the button is working. We're working. I remembered to turn my microphone on, and this show can officially start. Welcome, welcome. Good to be with you. Thanks so much for coming on back. Damon and Ratto here on 95.7 The Game. Got a great show for you today. Fred Warner, the man in the middle for your San Francisco 49ers, the man who's right in the middle of one of the best defenses in all of football, is going to be joining us today. 5 o'clock is the time. Fred Warner joins us. We got ourselves a really, really good show for you today because here come the defending Super Bowl champs. And it's odd that you got a little ownage over the defending Super Bowl champions, but that's what the 49ers have. It doesn't include the NFC title game, obviously. And we're going to have to ask Fred, what defines his mind's eye view of this rivalry? Is it the fact that they do have so much regular season success, or is it just the stinging loss of an NFC title game? How does that affect the way you step into Monday night, and how antsy does he get waiting around for a Monday night? Ray, I get antsy waiting around for Monday Night Football. So I would imagine players are just chomping at the bit.
I suspect they hate it almost as much as the short week that comes after. Just, there's too much sitting around, and they are creatures of habit. In fact, just a night game probably annoys them because they're used to being at the stadium by 9:30. Now you get there at 3. It's a lot of downtime.
It is. It's a hurry up and wait industry. I guess when you have to play a Monday night game. But I guess I'd much rather play a Monday night game than a Thursday night game. And as is the way of the modern NFL, we are, 24 hours away from the start of week 4 already. We are moving right along. Let me offer you this, just right off the rip, a theory that I have around Jimmy Garoppolo. It's really not a theory. I mean, it's proven. There are cycles of Jimmy Garoppolo. And remember, that cycle sometimes reassures you, it sometimes upsets you, and right when you are ready to completely give up on that guy or say, I've seen it all before, he plays the level of football that makes you think, how do you get rid of that guy? Should we keep him around? And that, I think, is one of the things that the Niners got going into this game. Jimmy Garoppolo has had his portion of the cycle, and maybe this is going to bring out the very best in him, the best that Jimmy can be anyways. And I'll tell you what, another thing that should, I think, just play into a better game plan for Jimmy Garoppolo, and this is going to sound a little crazy. There's no doubt there's some backward logic going on here. But Jimmy's got to get the ball out fast because we know he doesn't look for the deep throw. He's not looking for the deep target. He's not a stretch-the-field quarterback. He's 15 yards and underneath pretty much in the way he's most comfortable playing. Well, you got to be looking underneath, Ray. You got to be looking for quick release times if you're missing your best offensive lineman. And we know that they are missing Trent Williams to the point where only a moron would say, well, here's the silver lining of missing Trent Williams. But I guess that's what I'm saying. They have to get rid of the ball. We're talking about 3 seconds. Magic number this week is 2.5. They got to get rid of that sucker quickly, which I think plays into the throws that Jimmy's most comfortable making.
It's really kind of a zinc lining, though, because sometimes you won't get 2.5 seconds. Because that's the thing. We're about to find out, maybe for the first time, just how fragile this offensive line is without him, because he could hide a fair number of sins. And if they're going to have to throw, if they fall behind early, then the thing that they don't do well, which is pass block, is going to become more and more noticeable, which means that 2.5 might mean 2. It might mean, just a lot of just shovel passes, if nothing else, just to, prevent the Rams from getting ahead of steam, because I think they're going to find fairly easy passage to the pocket this week. I just don't know how the 49ers block them.
It's crazy that the Rams are 19-4 against the rest of the NFC West, and that includes Los Angeles' win on Sunday over the Cardinals, since McVay has come into town. Yet they're 3-7 in the regular season against Kyle Shanahan. It doesn't make much sense. And they're going to go from a certain style of quarterback play to the polar opposite style of quarterback play. Russell Wilson and Matthew Stafford are the opposite sides of the spectrum for the most part. I wonder if that doesn't make things a little bit easier for the 49ers because they're more comfortable playing against a pocket quarterback than a mobile quarterback. So, look, 1-2 doesn't sound good. 1-3 sounds horrible. 2-2 sounds absolutely fantastic, all things considered. So, getting 2-2 out of Monday Night Football, that is obviously job one for the 49ers this week. Ray, we're brought to the good people of the world by BMW Fairfield, now open in the Fairfield Auto Mall. Since opening their doors in July of 2021, BMW Fairfield's become the top-rated BMW dealer in the Bay Area. You can visit bmwfairfield.com today to book your visit. I was pouring over just an awful lot of stuff throughout the week. In the name of sometimes did that get past me? Was there a piece of information that I didn't see? I'll go to a beat writer or a podcaster's account or something like that, and open up their Twitter timeline and just start kind of scrolling backwards. And it's officially time to get ourselves out of Denver. I mean, no more crying over that spilt milk. That game is in the rearview mirror. It's all about what lies ahead of the 49ers, and what lies ahead of the 49ers are 14 more football games. But I'll tell you, I did see a little something that I thought was kind of damning, or at least raised an honest-to-goodness level of questioning about how Kyle Shanahan goes about doing things on some particular weeks. Nick Wagner offered up the most damning, I don't know if this is a stat or a trend, about the 49ers offense from this past week. In the first half of the Denver game, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle combined for 15 touches, 141 yards, and a touchdown. Look, that's good. That's all good. You'd like to see another score out of that for sure, but 15 touches carved up between your three most expensive players over a half of football, or three most important offensive players, I guess I should say, for 141 yards. Like that's good. Nothing wrong with any of that. The wrong comes into play in the second half, where those same three guys combine for a grand total of 2 touches and 5 yards. How do you go from feeding the beast to letting the beast starve when you need to feed it the most? I will give Denver some credit, because I could just feel you go into that in your mental Rolodex. Denver's defense deserves credit. They make their halftime adjustments. But the defensive adjustments made shouldn't have been the difference between 15 touches and 141 yards and 2 touches for 5 yards.
Well, the thing that sort of stands out to me, just off the top of my head, without really looking into it much, is Kyle Shanahan said on Monday, we're pretty predictable right now. And I wonder if that wasn't sort of a response in his head to, we need to be less predictable. We need to do something different. And when they play with a lead, they tend to just want to go straight power to Jeff Wilson, who's their running back now. I'd have to look through the play-by-play of the second half, but I suspect that's some of it. I wonder how much they had the ball in the second half. I'm not sure what to make of it. I mean, it's not a small sample size, but I don't know how instructive it is. So I'd have to, when we go to the break, I will look at that to see if I can figure out why you would do that the way they did it.
You're going to deconstruct that. So stick around, boys and girls. Ray is deconstructing things. And I don't know how much there is there, but when I was just scrolling through, I had missed that fact from Nick in real time. And it made me, I saw that and I said, well, I'm writing that down. I'm going to bring that into the show today, because I think there's something to talk about there. And another thing to talk about is simply with you guys. if we're looking for a little bit more imagination, knowing the parameters, and our audience knows the parameters of Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan in this offense very, very well, knowing what you know about the 49ers, if it were up to you to shoot Kyle Shanahan a text message with one idea to change this offense, to make it more potent, to make it go, what's the idea you're giving Shanahan? Because, man, I thought of that question, then I saw that Nick Wagoneer stat, and I just kept on thinking, feed the beast, man. The guys that you got that you know are beasts, you got to keep feeding them to the point where if that's how you also want to define predictable, all right, fine. Be predictable then. But be predictable with your best players because you got a better chance to win a game with a ball in your best players' hands, predictably or not, than you do maybe knocking on doors that don't open as easily. So, what are you doing? What are you doing to shake up this offense a little bit for Kyle Shanahan? He doesn't want your advice, but I'm sure you want to give it to him. What would you do? What would you tell Kyle to open up this offense a little bit more? 888-957-9570 is the number. We are just underway here on Damon and Ratto. It is good to have you here today. Our best coverage of the 49ers all the time on 95.7. The game is free to you all the time on the Odyssey app. You can download it today and bask in its glory.
The captain of the 49ers defense, linebacker Fred Warner, joins Damon and Ratto today at 5.
Chenault. Ball came out as he got to the 35-yard line of the 49ers have it. Fred Warner.
Fred Warner. Today at 5. Sponsored by Harris Ranch Beef. Legendary beef. Legendary quality.
Does your heart long to wander? To encounter colorful creatures from the deep blue sea? And amazing animals from the Amazon and beyond? Feed your wild heart. Travel the world. Right here in San Francisco. Make your reservation to the California Academy of Sciences at calacademy.org. Explore Wanderwoods, our new outdoor playscape, now open.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New Gigabit Extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
It's the bottom of the 9th, the game's on the line, and your small business needs a loan fast. What's your move? Go to OnDeck.com, America's largest online small business lender. With OnDeck, you can apply in minutes, and if approved, get your funds as soon as the same day. Go to OnDeck.com. Your loan is on deck. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank, a Utah Chartered Industrial Bank member FDIC. Limited eligibility for same-day funding. OnDeck does not lend in every state. All loans subject to lender approval.
This football season, adopt a new tradition that's sure to turn fans into family. The Jim Beam Highball. That's beam and soda over ice with a lemon slice. Share one at the stadium or make one at home. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2022, James B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky. Drink smart.
Neuropathy pain? Call Dr. Robert Dees, DC, 925-393-0100. go.
This Hispanic Heritage Month, the Multicultural Institute is celebrating 31 years in the community. That's 31 years of experience coming together to support and uplift each other. The Multicultural Institute connects day laborers and domestic workers with employers to ensure dignity while also providing comprehensive year-round services for the Bay Area's low-income Latinx community. To hire a day laborer or learn more about the Multicultural Institute, visit their website at mionline.org. That's mionline.org.
Wildfire is coming. Get set by knowing what to take and where to go. If you need to evacuate, go early to protect your family and community. Wildfire is coming. Do you have a plan? Learn more at readyforwildfire.org.
We're on a journey to make healthcare more accessible and more equitable, to treat the most complex diseases and offer hope where often there is little, to provide better care to more people across the Bay Area. We are more than a hospital, more than a university, beyond science and technology. We are the people of UCSF. UCSF Health, redefining possible.
Are you seeing the telomeres here? Come here, look at the scope.
Dr. Ocasio's lab startup just discovered a gene therapy breakthrough.
The cells have already doubled.
He needs a fleet of research assistants before this breakthrough breaks them.
We need lab techs, research assistants.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your... so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, an oil change with full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advance can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $36.99. Find your solution for better fuel efficiency today at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule an appointment when you are eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game. Brought to you by BMW Fairfield. Now open in the Fairfield Auto Mall. Visit bmwfairfield.com today to book your visit.
So it's not just terrestrial radio anymore. Oh no, we're way beyond that. We are streaming. We are on Twitch. We're on YouTube. You get us obviously on the Odyssey app, which means you could be listening to us from just about anywhere. I don't know where these people who are chatting right now on the YouTube page are all from. I'm guessing vast majority of you are from the Bay Area, but who knows? And having said all that, since you could be listening from anywhere, if anyone happens to be listening to us from the state of Florida, well, first of all, congratulations that you still have power. And if you don't, you probably shouldn't be wasting your batteries on this nonsense. But my God, what is happening to the state of Florida is officially scary. My sister is there in the St. Pete's area. She is in a safer area. She has friends who live much closer, much more inland, so she's okay. And if there were ever the right week for the Duchess to be out here visiting the grandkids, it was this week, and she's here. I can tell you that my mother right now is drinking Irish coffees down at the Buena Vista with my wife and my 1-year-old. I'm guessing Ozzy's picking up the tab. But man, thank God she's here. Just watching what's happening in Florida on TV is scary enough. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be there.
Was her decision to come out based at all on the notion that
serendipity? Serendipity. This was planned months ago.
People have known that Ian was going to hit for about a week. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, did you see Jim Cantor, the weather.com guy?
No.
Get hit by a tree?
Like not a branch, but a whole tree?
Well, a significant part of a tree that had broken off, and he's trying to do a report in 60-mile-an-hour winds because he's an idiot.
A stand-up shot.
And this tree just comes by and just takes him out. He gets up. He manages to walk to a light post and hold on to that while the camera guy tries to figure out how to keep a shot going and grab him and bring him in.
Was he staggered like Tua on Sunday, getting up?
Well, he got knocked down, but he got back up because he does that stuff a lot. He thinks it's great television, but this was one of those moments where you go, Jim, it's not as fun as it is harrowing. Get inside.
I mean,
if trees are running by, it's windy.
Yeah, there are certain times where you really want that sexy shot that looks good on TV, but when we're approaching 155-mile-an-hour winds, we might want to wrap that idea up and live to fight another day.
Yeah, this was merely a balmy 60.
Well, again, if anybody is listening, we're with you, Florida. No one in the state of California can point at any other state with any element of schadenfreude when it comes to natural disasters, because apparently, or, you can just bet on it, ours is coming one day, and there won't be like a 3-week warning like they had on Ian. So, man, it's just, I feel so badly for everyone that is going through all that. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you to the YouTube Army for listening once again, and thank you to the Text Line Army. I've been giving so much love to the YouTubers. I left out the text line, and let's go old school and say, hey, thanks to all of the radio listeners who are never in a chat room, never typing, never sending in texts or anything like that. You're just listening and minding your own business like a great audience member. If you don't mind me saying, Ray's preferred audience member, the quiet audience.
Yeah, when they reach out is when they bother me.
Well, on that note, 888-957-9570. How would you go about fluffing this offense? If you had to pass a note along to Kyle, even though you're just some novice Yahoo sitting on your couch watching football, never coaching football, but you've watched enough of it to have an idea or two that you think could actually help an NFL head coach, what would that idea be? Like, you can have any idea for Kyle Shanahan. What would it be? 888-957-9570. Rays, I'm sure yours would be, don't listen to callers from sports talk radio shows.
Oh, if he's listening to any show, whether it's this one or any other.
It's ours.
If he's listening to any of them, he's not doing his job. But
we make nice background noise.
Not really. I mean, not for him.
I mean, personally, I think I'm worth paying attention to.
If he again, he should have better things to do.
He should.
But since you've asked, they were fairly diversified in the first half last week. They got 20 touches to their 3 best guys, or touches or targets. I think once they start to protect a lead, that was the second half, you started them trying to run Wilson more. And maybe the lead wasn't big enough because, first of all, fumble in the first series. Second series is a safety. Third series is a punt. Fourth series is a field goal, but doesn't really put Denver out of reach. And then they give up the touchdown right after that. So maybe if you're trying to say, what are you going to do to juice up the offense, run it like it's the first half. Because first half, guys were getting the ball in proportion to their importance to the offense. Didn't happen in the second half, but in fairness, even there, they had the ball for only 22 plays after halftime and only 10 minutes.
It was surprising because I agree with you. They turned to their running game when Kyle gets ultra conservative. Yet at the same time, they only have 19 rushes in that game? The stats coming out of that box score are a little weird. There's just no doubt about it. It was a weird night in Denver all the way around, and hopefully all the weird that you can fit into the first 3 weeks of a football season is officially now behind this team. But yeah, play to your strengths. Like, keep on going to the play that works until they take it away from you. Now, I'm sure Denver, they get paid to play defense too, and I'm sure they took away some elements of, we're taking away Debo here in the passing game, or we're going to take Kittle away just right at the line of scrimmage. We're going to wipe him out and just make sure he's not getting anything that even resembles a clean release, and we're just going to make his night miserable. Doesn't even really get out of his three-point stance. And then you also had Kittle probably staying back only because of the Trent Williams injury alone, so that probably took him a little bit out of the offense. But now there's Brandon Ayuk. And this would have been an opportunity to maybe get Danny Gray in there. I mean, how many 4 wide receiver sets have we seen from this team? Not many. Not many. So maybe a little diversity in the schemes you're showing other teams, and then just keep on running what is working for you until they make you play left-handed. This is Chris in Fairfield. Chris, appreciate your call this afternoon. You got an idea for Kyle Shanahan?
Yeah, you kind of stole my thunder a little bit. I would like to see defenses figure out a way to play us when we go into trips formation. I would love to see Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle on the right and Gray all the way to the left. I would love to see how that got defended by defenses. We do great in between the tackles, but I don't believe we do enough trips. And the one time we did something similar to trips, it was so foreign to Jimmy, he never saw Debo wide open down the sideline. I believe that could be open a lot. When you have Kittle, who's such a great blocker, in the trip scheme, gosh, we watch McVay and so many other people do so much in the trips formation. I just think that, gosh, why not throw a few of those throughout the game, maybe 5 or 6? And he is smart enough that he can scheme up that trip. I would love to see Kittle and Ayuk and Debo on one side, Gray on the other going deep. I just think that could work. And it's quick, and you get it out, and you get your screens. I don't see any of that. And that's what you were talking about with your 4 wides. I just would like to see 3-on-1, 1 on the left.
I'll tell you, Chris, nobody robbed you of your thunder. That was a hell of a call. Very good call. Thank you so much. And I agree. And what I like out of that trips formation, instead of just me saying 4 wide across, you know what Kyle really is good at? I mean, since we spent so much of this season so far telling you what Kyle isn't or not good at, you know what he's great at? He's great at disguising the illegal play as a legal play. He's great at running picks off of players 6 yards downfield, even though it's illegal after you get past 5. He's great at running picks off officials who got heavy feet. He's great at using what's on the football field to spring other guys open on the football field. And sometimes he knows he's flirting with the rule book. It's like a Zaza Pachulia. I've never seen anyone set a moving screen better than that guy. Kyle's great at setting illegal and moving screens and getting away with them. That's how guys do pop so open.
See, I don't think any of these concepts are foreign to Kyle Shanahan. What I wonder, though, is does he think he can block those for those? And I have my doubts. I don't know that he's got a ton of confidence in his offensive line to pass block the extra half second to a second that it takes for a play with trips to come open. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. But I think part of why Shanahan's offense is not as exotic as others is that his offensive line isn't very good. And bad offensive lines tend not to be able to pass block more than run block. Run blocking is easier. And if you can't pass block well, a lot of your exotics have to go by the wayside. You can't have Kittle downfield if you need him as part of your blocking scheme.
It feels like a funny week to say this with no Trent Williams, but I don't think we can just chalk this up to, well, you got a subpar offensive line and you need to conduct business as such. I actually think they've played beyond their expectations. I think they've been pretty good. So, again, if he's scared to do that, that's not good, because scared money don't make none. Not in sports, really not anywhere. And I know that one of the things that I put out on Twitter that got some traction when I just said, Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan really do complement each other in terms of their on-field cowardice. I'm not saying either one of those guys is a coward. My God, Jimmy's in more physical accidents every single week in a football, just going through practice than I'll be in the rest of my life in terms of like any physical confrontation. These guys are grown-ass men. They're not cowards. But I just think that they're afraid to do things on a football field that seem to be standard, or other teams try to do them no matter what. no matter what, to varying degrees. You know, I mean, if you're the Chicago Bears, the answer right now is don't ever throw the ball ever. I don't know if you can do that yet. I mean, if Kyle were the head coach of the Chicago Bears, I don't know if they're throwing a single forward pass. It might be like that Bill Belichick game in Buffalo where he's throwing 3 passes or 2 passes, whatever the hell it was. But that's how you get predictable.
Well, but here's the other thing. The 2 games they lost this year, they threw the ball about 60% of the time. In the game they won, they ran the ball 67% of the time. And that's kind of a meaningful statistic because it bears out other wins and losses that they've had over the years, is that they are much better when they are running at least as much, if not more, than they are throwing the ball. And that's last year, that's 3 years ago, which were their 2 best years. I mean, that may be a correlation as well. The more they throw, the worse it gets.
Now you sound like Bo Schembechler. 888-957-9570.
Well, Bo's dead and not here to defend himself.
Carlos in San Bruno. Hello, Carlos. What's your idea to pass along to the coach?
Thanks, guys. I want more George Kittle. I want Shanahan to revert back to 2018 and do whatever he did to make Nick Mullins help George Kittle break the single-season tight end record for receiving yards. So whatever that was, we need some more of that.
Yeah, I say it almost every week. Hey, diddle diddle, where's some more George Kittle? He's too electric of a player with the ball in his hand to not get the ball in his hands. And I know Kyle loves him as a run blocker, and I do too. Everyone does. But let's say Travis Kelce was as good of a run blocker as George Kittle is. Do you think Andy Reid's turning him into a blocking tight end? No chance. I mean, how about George Kittle line up in a wide receiver position? How about getting him out where receivers line? How about you got George Kittle lining up against a cornerback? Does any cornerback want to see that coming down the field at him 5 yards at a time? 888-957-9570. Rich in San Mateo. What's your idea, Rich?
Hey, guys. I think my central thing for Kyle, and he is a very, very innovative coach and has a lot of great ideas. But what always rubs my nose the wrong way is that he forgets to use the weapons that he has. Like everybody, you guys have pointed out, other callers have, of Kittle. You've got to use Kittle more. But another guy that is so underutilized is Kyle Jusick. I mean, look at that incredible catch, the one catch that he had in the last game. And he's got tremendous hands and is a great short yardage and goal line runner. It's like the way the Niners used to use the fullback back when Tom Rathman was with the team in the glory days. When they won the Super Bowl back-to-back in 88 and 89, in 1989, Jerry Rice was the leading receiver on the team with 89 passes. Number 2 receiver on the team was Tom Rathman with 72 passes from the fullback position. It's like, they say there's a fine line between genius and madness, and it's like Kyle loses his mind, You've got to use the guys that you have and the talent that you have and get everybody involved, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, Rich, I didn't think I would be agreeing with the more fullback. But yeah, I do. I mean, I think he's one of the single best football players on this team. I think he is the best fullback in the NFL. And since that's a lever that you can pull, you should probably pull it a little bit more. Now, if you're saving, Kyle Juszczyk for a rainy day, well, okay. At 1 and 2, hosting the Rams on a Monday night game, that feels a little rainy to me. Conceptually, not actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. More Debo in the passing game. Maybe a little less Debo as a running back. More Kittle in the passing game. Not as a blocking tight end. More Brandon Ayuk. Give me some Danny Gray. And Kyle Juszczyk should get 6 touches a game. 5-6 touches a game. Yeah, it feels like a lot, and it is a lot. But no one would see it coming. I'll tell you that. No one would see them coming. No one would see, oh, this is the Kyle Juszczyk game until it was actually happening. And by that time, you might be down a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know that you can pre-program touches. Because I think what we saw on Sunday night was an offense that, while it didn't score a lot of points, it moved up and down the field pretty well. And in the second half, they didn't have the ball at all. So that was problem one. And the second problem was Kyle Shanahan was trying to protect a lead that was too small. And maybe that's the problem with the offense, is that it doesn't convert its possessions. Going into halftime, with 10, with 7, clearly not enough. And it wasn't like the offense wasn't dynamic. I mean, Garoppolo was getting throws off. They were running the ball plenty. But the second half, it all stopped because, among other things, the game changed. Denver had the ball for 20 minutes. 49ers had...
Second half.
Yeah.
Just second half.
Just the second half. They had the ball 35 for the game, which is also a lot. But 20 minutes in the second half, I mean, I don't know what offense you can establish.
Well, and what's amazing about that is that the 49ers just forced their most punts in a football game in 6-7 years. It's been a really, really long time since they were just that much 3 and out. Here we go. Yeah. 49ers defense forced its most punts in a single game in 6 years. The defense even got to Russell Wilson 4 times. So you force 8 3-and-outs. Denver has very little going for it offensively, yet they dominate you in the second half, time of possession? Like, how's that even happen? Again, it was a weird game. It was a really weird game.
Yeah, they're starting to master that.
This is Matt in Novato. Thank you for the call, Matt. You're on 95.7 The Game with Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield. What's going on?
Yeah, guys, I was calling because one issue I've had the last few weeks on top of, what you guys have been talking about, I think comes down to, the overuse. Rather than using all these amazing pieces we have to confuse teams and make it difficult to scheme for us, Kyle seems to use all these, studs that we have kind of like disposable matches. Oh, I'm going to run Trey till he's hurt or I can't. Then we saw on Monday night, he's basically doing the same thing to Debo, and then he got scared away from it when Debo went down. Then you had Trent getting double-teamed and didn't give him any help, which essentially leads to him getting hurt. And I'm just worried that he keeps doing this. And then on top of it, the leadership of the team, how is it that Kyle never seems to come after the game and take ownership of anything unless it's coming to Jimmy's aid? Monday night or against the Bears, the only guy who stepped up and said, this is on me, was Trey. The rookie comes up and says, I got to do better. I can spot numerous places where I could have done more. And then, when Jimmy comes in with a lead against Seattle, he's at the podium saying it's like riding the bike, and Kyle's joking, oh, he's still handsome. And then come next week, Jimmy says, oh, it's like my first game, and Kyle says he put him in a weird position. A weird position. The football field's been the same length and shape for as long as the game's been going on, and he walked out the back of the end zone. I mean, it's just embarrassing. At what point do these guys step up? And if Jimmy thinks he's the guy and Kyle's going to put his trust in him, you got to own it when it's bad, not just when it's good. But, yeah, I mean, I don't get the point of having more guys in the top 100 than any other team and then just using them one by one until they drop like flies. How about spreading it around and being confusing? Because I don't know any team in the league that could be seeing the Niners on the schedule, even with all the pieces we have, being afraid. I think that Harbaugh-era team, it was scary to face that defense. It was scary to face that Kaepernick in his prime when all things were firing. And now everybody pretty much just schemes that, hey, if we can score a touchdown or a touchdown and a field goal, the Niners can't go get those points no matter what the defense does. And I'm just waiting for this team to be intimidating on any level with the names that we have on it. It's just crazy that we're not more daunting on the schedule.
Matt, good call. I think the Niners do scare teams defensively. Offensively, elements might scare other teams and coaches, but you're right, not enough of it. And I think maybe the best point that you made in your phone call was that Kyle does burn guys out. It's weird. I mean, I began this segment saying you got to keep on returning to your guys when you know something's working. Yet at the same time, you are right. He will, I mean, if Debo got 2 carries in that first quarter that worked well, he's going to get 3 more carries in the second quarter. This is where we were saying, you are overusing Trey Lance. And you can defend Kyle on that, and we can have Kyle Juszczyk come on in and maybe use the wrong mathematical parable to explain it away. But, yeah, I mean, that resonates with me a little bit. It does feel like there is an element of just predictability. Like, who's coming out hot in the first quarter? There is no doubt that Kyle is going to ride that guy into the ground until you know it's coming.
I'm still trying to get my head around what I think is the most pernicious problem along these lines, which is that I think he's just too eager to get into protect the lead mode. Because, again, you saw what he can do when he feels free and easy in terms of play calling, in terms of distributing the ball. So it's not like he doesn't know how. But I think they don't get enough points for him to get into protect mode yet. You need a 2-touchdown lead minimum, and they didn't have that in either of the 2 losses. And in the game where they did have a significant lead, then you can pound like crazy. I think that's the bigger problem more than he runs guys into the ground. It's that he wants to go to his bellwether guy when a game is too close. And maybe he's just got to be more freewheeling. It would certainly answer the one question that he had before, which was, we're kind of predictable. Well, you're part of the reason.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. Good use of the word pernicious as well. When we come on back, there will be more verbal dancing just like that. And Fred Warner at 5 o'clock here on 95.7 The Game. We are brought to you by Fremont Bank, full service banking. No compromises.
Who doesn't love a Pac-12 After Dark thriller? I'm Erin Hawksworth, here to help you beat the books with BetQL. Washington is making noise in the Pac-12, but now they have to go on the road and live up to the hype at UCLA. Both the Huskies and Bruins boast top 30 defenses in yards per play allowed, and the BetQL model likes the under. BetQL has under 66 as a 4-star best bet. I'm Erin Hawksworth. Bet smarter, beat the books. Download the BetQL app today.
Is there a calculator that can't compute in your kitchen drawer? Recycle it at Staples. A shredder that won't shred under your bed? Or a collection of cables cluttering up your closet? Recycle them now at Staples. With Staples Free Tech Take-Back, we'll recycle your old tech free. Plus, rewards members get $5 back in rewards. So if you have modems, mice, and mobile phones making a mess of your home, recycle them now at Staples. Limit 1 reward per month. Redeemable in-store only. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/recycling.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
The following is an attorney advertisement. If you get sidelined by a workplace injury, the workers' compensation attorneys at Boxer and Gerson can help get you back in the game. Our team of skilled attorneys will fight by your side for the treatment and compensation you deserve. We care about justice for injured workers. That's what makes us Northern California's premier workers' comp law firm. Call Boxer and Gerson at 510-345-2341 or visit boxerlaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer and Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
Don't waste your time trying to sell your old car. Donate it to Cars for Kids. It's the easiest and fastest way to donate your car and get a tax deduction. Donate online at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your car today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter.com/find.
Kirby is your driveway mechanic. They bring the shop to you with brake replacements, oil changes, washes, and so much more. Get $50 off your first oil change with code OIL50 at Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com and use code OIL50.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Tired of companies like Google and Facebook watching everything you do online? There's actually a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Hey guys, Mike Valeni for Cash the Ticket podcast. If you like sports betting or if you just like sports, it's the podcast for you. We try to cover all the big games and maybe some of the games you didn't even know were important, give you some angles, pick some winners, have a good time, and hopefully help you meander through college and pro football season. So join us a couple times a week to get all your information you need to bet the games that you watch. It's Cash the Ticket on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
Thanks so much for being with us here on a Wednesday afternoon. We're going to go inside the 49ers locker room at 5 o'clock. Fred Warner joins us today, and we're looking forward to talking to one of the best linebackers in the world. He's always been a really good convo. I'd be stunned if he were anything less than that today. I got to say, too, Fred Warner showed up for the Guardsman Sports Auction a couple of months ago. We had a wonderful charity event to raise money for Bay Area at-risk youth. We honored Will Clark before the Giants actually retired his number. And Fred Warner was there. A lot of 49ers showed up. And man, it was great to meet him. He's a really, really good guy. Very, very nice guy. And looking forward to saying hello to him a little bit later on today and get his sort of temperature on a whole bunch of things coming up at 5 o'clock. Somebody here on the text line, Ray, says, did you guys see the "Your Play Sucks Man" Jimmy Garoppolo lip reading thing? Yeah, we saw it. I even pressed retweet on that bad boy. I never said I knew exactly what he said, but the words play and suck, those are definitely being used. Now, whether he said that play sucked, my play sucked, your play sucked, I don't know whose play he was saying were sucking in the real moment there, but it wasn't good, and he was obviously a little bit frustrated. And somebody here says, I'd like Kyle to run some plays then that Jimmy likes, if indeed that's it. I don't think he's asking Jimmy what he wants to run. Now, I do agree with you there. Kyle is not running a democracy. I don't think he is going to an awful lot of players for feedback about what they really like. Kyle is much more of a dictatorship. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, I hope Jimmy, in a weird way, is now comfortable enough to stage his own eensy-weensy, tiny little bit of an insurrection.
I know, and you keep saying that, and I think, he's not, he's constitutionally, that's not what he's going to do. I think also very few quarterbacks get to defy the coach, even in subtle ways, until they present him with a ring. And Jimmy Garoppolo has not done that yet. Aaron Rodgers gets to run his huddle. Russell Wilson is coming to it late, but maybe he's starting to run his huddle. Tom Brady has run a franchise for the better part of 10 years. But you've got to put a skin on the wall before you even get to be considered to do that.
Nah, I disagree. Because
who else is fighting in the huddle with their coach?
I'm not talking about fighting in the huddle with the coach. I'm saying this play for me, it's just not what I'm comfortable doing. I see something else here. I'm audibling into that something else, and I'm doing that right now. That might get you closer to the pelt than just doing it in ways that aren't producing what you want produced.
But in a control freak NFL, very few quarterbacks get to have that veto power.
I'm saying,
and I don't think
I'm not looking for Jimmy to seek permission. You do it live in real time. What's Kyle going to run out and start tackling guys himself because he doesn't like the way they're doing it? I mean, there's no way.
That's not Jimmy's nature. It's never been his nature, and I don't think it's going to be his now. I mean, by now he is what he is, not just in terms of results, but in terms of what he is and what he does and how much freedom he insists on, which is not very much. I just don't think he's that guy. And the first time he throws an interception with his play,
what? You're going to go to Brock Purdy? Frickin' dare ya. I mean, that's the thing. He is now in a situation. Jimmy's never been more bulletproof in his entire career. There's nothing. Take me out of this game because you didn't like what I just did, Coach. I fricking dare you.
But he's not the guy who's going to walk into a fusillade of bullets with a bulletproof vest. He's not that guy. You're just going to have to face the fact that he's going to run Kyle's offense the way Kyle wants it run. That's him. And it's not a matter of how bulletproof he feels politically. This is the play. We're running the play. Because it's worked more than it hasn't.
Someone says, hey, if you want to find out what that lip reading really was, ask a deaf person. They're phenomenal at lip reading. Well, you're right about that, someone from the 510 on the Comcast Business text line, but I can assure you right now we have very few deaf people to ask in the audience. And how could we?
Although, in fairness, some deaf people would find the show more rewarding.
I heard the deaf vote enthusiastically on Damon and Ratto.
Oh, yeah. They love the fact that they can tune in and never be annoyed by either of us.
What a luxury.
Oh, if only I were more deaf.
Jimmy, this is good. Now, they're not with the Niners, obviously, but Jimmy's got more rings than Kyle can even pretend to look at unless he's in his daddy's sock drawer.
You don't get to have a ring just because you stood on the sidelines well.
Oh, no, I'm sure that backup quarterbacks get rings all the time.
Oh, no, I know he's got a ring, but he didn't exactly earn it.
Hey, he's running scout team, baby.
Yeah, that's a big deal on a team like the Patriots.
How do you think they knew how to come back against Matt Ryan? That was all Jimmy. Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry.
How do you do that without pulling a groin muscle?
I know, right? It's pretty impressive. I stretch before the show. I got to go back here to the YouTube chatters, and I'm scrolling back up here, seeing who's got the best thing to say today. And here's a pretty good thing. It's from Philip Don Michael Johnson Thomas. So we obviously have a huge Miami Vice fan somewhere here on our
No, what we've got is a
page.
guy who just ran through the phone number and picked 5 first names.
No, those are all, I can trace them all to Miami Vice. Were you a big Miami Vice guy?
Never watched a minute.
Oh, you missed out, man. Did you ever, Ray, for a millisecond embrace like the Miami Vice look? Like anywhere in your mid-'80s, could I find you with some sort of a like pink pastel shirt and a white jacket?
No.
It's disappointing because you have been wrapped up in fashion trends. I've seen some old Chronicle
You've seen
photos.
one photo, and I've worn a tie twice in the last 55 years. So no, fashion is not me.
Maybe we could get you like a bolo tie?
Only if I could take it off and strangle you with it.
Philip Don Michael Johnson Thomas says, I say we've reached the acceptance stage in the steps of the Jimmy Garoppolo rinse and repeat. He actually says it's a stage in the 12 steps. Well, there are 12-step groups, but the stages of grief are 5 stages. So let's see where we are. And Jimmy does fit into all these in one way or another. So the first stage of grief, or in this case, the first stage of Garoppolo is denial. Nah, he can't still be here next year. He's not still going to be on the team. You can't go ahead and have that guy sitting behind Trey Lance. It's just unfair. That's the first stage, denial. Anger. I can't believe he's still here. What the hell is that guy still doing here? Kyle owes it to his quarterback to not have that guy behind him. What's that? Bargaining. Stage number 3. You know, if anything were to happen with Trey Lance, isn't Jimmy Garoppolo really the best guy to come in and solve that problem? That's the bargaining. That's the bargaining that you start doing. Then you get depression. Like, did he just step out of the back of the end zone on a safety? Yeah, he did. He sacked himself. That's something else. He sacked himself on a safety. This is depression. And then you get acceptance. Well, it's going to be Jimmy the rest of the way, unless something else happens. So you better get used to that. And then you start coming back to the concept of, I guess, denial. This is the cycle of Garoppolo. Do you think he's going to go ahead and start calling plays and act a little bit more defiantly? Maybe that's acceptance again or bargaining again?
No, that's hallucinating.
So I'm in the ayahuasca phase of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, no, I think you're in the, if I were him, that's what I would do. Without taking into account that
my mentals would have made an incredible quarterback. Mentally, I would have been an elite professional athlete. Physically, undrafted.
You'd have lasted 5 seconds.
Mentally?
Just mentally. Not because you're dim, but because you would have said something like, I don't want to run that play. I said, okay, well, stand next to me and you can watch somebody else run that play.
And I'd be in your ear again and be like, he doesn't have my arms talent. He doesn't have my arms. You know that I'm standing here because you're trying to punish me. But every time you try to punish me, you're only punishing yourself. It'd be like if anyone at this station ever had the gall to suspend me. Why don't you go ahead and just lop off your own nose while you're doing that? It's despite the face.
Are you trying to say something here?
No. But you'd be nuts. Suspend me? Under what grounds? Teaching me a lesson?
Well, no, there's no. Teaching you is a futile gesture.
Exactly.
It's burning with optimism.
So what are we doing here? Let's get to the huddle. Let's run a few plays. Whatever you're angry at, you'll be calm about it as soon as you see how good it is I am at this. I would have been an incredible professional athlete, mentally.
Incredible is the right word in that it means not credible.
Alex is in Oakland. Hold on, Alex. Let me welcome everybody to your 4 o'clock hour here on a lovely Wednesday afternoon.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free.
Alex, Oakland. Hello, what do you got?
Well, just trying to fluff up Shanahan a little bit. I think you're on the right track there. I think Shanahan's in denial. You got a situation where there's a codependency between the coach and the quarterback, and you got abandonment of some of the players who should get more time. So I think they ought to get a sports therapist for themselves.
Oh, you mean like the guy who comes and helps out in The Natural? Where he starts talking about, oh, God, I forget the monologue at this point. But, yeah, sports therapists? I mean, I don't know how you would have a football... Maybe Kyle Shanahan needs a sports therapist. Has a head coach ever had a sports therapist or called him in? I don't know.
I don't know either, but we are skipping over the one thing that seems pretty evident to me. It's not a very good offensive team. It has too many holes. Most notably, the thing across the front that keeps everybody else safe. That tends to limit your options.
What if I told you that offensive line was actually better than the running back room?
Not even this year. It's a fine run blocking line, and it has been for years. But what people are screaming about is we need more diversity. We need more passing. We need more getting the ball to the big movers and shakers. That requires an offensive line that will give you time to do that. And I have yet to see this offensive line do that. I don't think they did it last year particularly well. And they only did it in 2019 a couple of times, because the first 8 games of the year, if you remember, the 49ers ran the ball down people's throats. I mean, just the first 3 games, I think they ran the ball 40 times each time. And they were 8-0. And I think, if you're looking for some sort of, smoking pistol, maybe that's when Kyle Shanahan said, we're much better as a running team. And that's borne more fruit than let's put the ball in the air.
Yes, but I agree. I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I don't think Kyle can get much credit for saying, yeah, I want to run the football, and I'm going to do it when I know we can do it well, because that's the way every coach operates, is it not? I mean,
Andy Reid doesn't operate that way. There have been years when Bill Belichick has not operated that way.
If Andy Reid had Derrick Henry and didn't have Patrick Mahomes, I promise you that offense would look so different you wouldn't even think it was Andy Reid's.
No question, but who's the guy who reached out to get Patrick Mahomes because he wanted that offense to be what it is? Andy Reid. Given a choice.
Well, the same way. I mean, didn't Kyle just prove to you that he's trying to do more? He conceptually, through the draft pick of Trey Lance, is looking for more?
I think that's what the theory was. Then he got him in, and I believe he saw all the things that Lance cannot yet do, and he decided, you're going to need a year to watch. And then the second year, he gets hurt almost instantaneously. I mean, and it was a huge gamble, and everybody knew it because everybody said it was a huge gamble. And so far, it's turned out that he hasn't seen a face card yet. So, I think conceptually he understood that, but I think given what he's got right now, which is a second-string running back starting, backup quarterback, and now your best offensive lineman out for weeks, he's good. Unless he makes a willful attempt to figure out a way to be bold, he's not going to be bold.
Bomani Jones. Who'd Bomani go on with today? Is that the morning? I want to give everyone credit. His morning roast. Bomani was on with the morning roast, and he had this theory that so I think Bomani Jones is one of the more interesting guys in all sports, and I want to hear what he has to say about pretty much anything he's talking about. But when he's talking about the Niners, I really want to hear that. Here's what Bomani Jones had to say about Kyle Shanahan and what he really does want in a quarterback.
What I said specifically that was weird to me is I don't understand what Kyle Shanahan is into when it comes to quarterbacks. The man who passed up on Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, and to be fair, he passed up on Trubisky too to draft Solomon Thomas, eventually becomes the man who drafts Trey Lance, and then, as he did with Robert Griffin, just because you can run don't mean you're a running back. And so, like, I find him confusing on that level.
I think that that's fair. And I think that if you brought that to Kyle Shanahan, he would even admit, like, yeah, if I did have a preferred scent of a quarterback that I were on, I've thrown you off of that trail a couple of times, haven't I? I really have. How about this? I mean, age clearly had something to do with it. Tom Brady? Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady's not enough for you, Kyle? Really? Kyle? Not enough? He said no. Not interested in Tom Brady. Not interested in Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes. Not even going to scout Patrick Mahomes. Not even going to send eyeballs to go see Patrick Mahomes. It feels like a little bit of a dereliction of duty. Bomani Jones, a little bit more on the morning roast with Bonte and Shasky, talking about how this team's offensive problems, it's not in just one place. And we've been talking about that quite a bit ourselves.
I don't know if there's something wrong with the offense as much as your quarterback just isn't good. And I know that people have a bit of an emotional attachment to Jimmy Garoppolo that I find to be peculiar, but he just ain't it. And he hasn't been it. And every sign that the world gives us that he's not it, you got people that jump up and try to be like, oh, no, but Jimmy's a winner. That's not how things work, man. Like, the dude who closes his eyes and throws an interception in the Super Bowl, that ain't what winners do. The dude that runs out the back of the end zone, that's not what winners do. And so I have just found a lot of his decisions, less his coach than personnel, man, to be absolutely, like, maddening and confusing. Like, I think he's put together an incredible roster and has done a great job with that. And I do think he's got an offense that, by and large, has a very high floor. But this team ain't going to get it done with the backup quarterback. But can you blame a head coach for not being able to get it done with the backup quarterback, even if the backup was the starter before?
Again, look, I love Bomani. I'm not going to get into the whole concept of who's a winner, not a winner, because this entire franchise ain't a winner without Jimmy since Kyle's taken over. They are 31-15 when Jimmy starts, and that includes the loss in Denver.
But here's the thing. The 49ers of the last 4 years have not been winners because the quarterbacks made them a winner. What you could say about Jimmy Garoppolo is he hasn't gotten in the way of the things they do well.
Just don't poop yourself is all they're asking him to do.
So, you know, when people try to frame this team the way they frame traditional teams that run through their quarterback, they miss it. Because this team has won on its running game and its defense. And not necessarily in that order. So the idea that, you know, well, first of all, the concept of a winner is nonsense. I agree with him completely. It's just teams win. You know, players can influence that winning, and if you're a great player, you can influence it a lot. But you do not suddenly come into the league and be granted the title winner. That takes a lot of people working together. And I think one of the things about this team so far is that it hasn't operated together. It's had one half of the football that is excellent and one half of the football that cannot get out of its own way. And until the part that's not very good gets better, you're going to have wildly uneven performances. I mean, it's just, and it's not going to be just, if we only had a better quarterback. You know, no, it's more than that. You know, the things that the 49ers have shorted historically in the Shanahan era are offensive linemen and secondary people. Well, they finally seem to have addressed the secondary issue to a point where it's no longer unsightly. The offensive line, however, is not. It's very much a bit of an eyesore. And that, to me, more than Jimmy Garoppolo, is the one great, if I'm going to use your phrase, dereliction of duty that Kyle Shanahan, as the general manager, has made. He has addressed, but not fixed, the offensive line. And if you're supposed to be, you know, an offensive mastermind, you have to understand that that's the first thing you do.
Kenton in Corte Madera. Kenton, you're on 95.7 The Game. Hello.
Hey, how you doing? I'm all with Ray on this. Imagine instead of drafting Trey Lance and giving up all those draft picks, they had focused on the offensive line and picked up some huge protection for whoever the quarterback is. And I know everybody wants to blame Jimmy Garoppolo for backing out of the back of the end zone and getting a safety, but like the reality is he had no time at all after the first couple of series. They were just coming after him.
Well, they all. I mean, and I'm going to let you keep going here, Kenton. But I'll just say that Shanahan already kind of even did wear that one a little bit, saying I called play action on the 1-inch line, and that was a bad play to send into the huddle. And he's right about that. I'm glad he admitted that much.
Hey, you want? Oh,
yeah. It was. I mean, to me, Shanahan isn't a genius. Shanahan isn't a good coach. He's got a lot of blind spots as far as play calling. He doesn't know how to adjust throughout the game. And, maybe he'll grow into being a head coach, but in my mind, right now, he's not a head coach. And we don't know whether Garoppolo is any good or Trey Lance are any good because we don't know. We don't have an offensive line that can protect anybody. And we don't have a play caller who can be flexible throughout the game and adjust to what the defense is doing. I think those are huge problems.
I think you're right, and Brian Baldinger would be the first to tell you that you should spend every single draft pick on offensive and defensive line, and you build out any football team from its middle to its outside, and you'll be better off for it. And to an extent, I agree. There are a lot of really good quarterbacks who are winning with something less than the most outstanding line that you can find in football. Again, so where does the rubber meet the road on the protection you need to get good quarterbacking play and a quarterback who can rise above the lack of protection that he might be receiving to still make the right play? And that is the needle I think everyone's trying to thread in some way. 888-957-9570. More of your calls when we do come back. And a question, theoretical question, about who might point the finger first when it's all said and done. Come back with much more of that. And remember, Fred Warner in less than an hour from right now here on 95.7 The Game. We are brought to you by the Odyssey app. You go download that bad boy today. Oh, we're also brought to you by the Caltrans Stormwater Program.
We see a lot of trash on our highways and in our waterways. This isn't what we want. Clean highways, clean water. Now that is what we want. You can help change this to that. Learn how at cleanwaterca.com from the Caltrans Stormwater Program.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New Gigabit Extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
Now it's time for the closer of the week. Presented by LiftMaster and R&S Doors. Turn your garage into the envy of the neighborhood. Visit rsdoors.com.
The closer of the week is Brandon Ayuk, who shined on a dark night in Denver.
It's Ayuk inside touchdown. And Brandon Ayuk with the touchdown grab in San Francisco scores first.
Recently, my garage door opener was not working. I was in need of a closer. I was put in touch with R&S Doors, and they hooked me up with a brand new garage door opener from LiftMaster. With LiftMaster's MyQ connectivity, my garage door opener can be controlled right from my smartphone. You'll know when a door or gate has been left open and can close it with a tap, no matter where I am. Be one of the first 10 callers and receive 20% off a LiftMaster garage door opener when you purchase purchase a premium garage door.
Call 1-800-FIX-A-DOOR. That's 800-FIX-A-DOOR. Or visit rsdoors.com. R&S Doors. Look for the red truck.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-200-1966. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
When Big Mobile charges you an arm and a leg, they're taking your money and your power. And your arm and leg. Boost Mobile gives your power back with an unlimited plan for $25 a month on one of America's largest 5G networks. We can't give you back your arm and your leg because we're not qualified surgeons. Unless you're an iguana who can grow limbs back. Switch to Boost and get an unlimited plan for $25 a month. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. New customers only. One line, $25 per month with auto pay. Additional restrictions apply. See boostmobile.com for details.
Chest up, engage your core, dig
At
deep.
Misty's gym, boot camp gets pretty close to the real thing. She wants to spot a personal trainer with a military background.
I can cover this week's boot camp, but we need someone staff. Isn't your cousin a Marine?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
When Big Mobile charges you an arm and a leg, they're taking your money and your power. And your arm and leg. Boost Mobile gives your power back with an unlimited plan for $25 a month on one of America's largest 5G networks. We can't give you back your arm and your leg because we're not qualified surgeons. Unless you're an iguana who can grow limbs back. Switch to Boost and get an unlimited plan for $25 a month. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. New customers only. One line, $25 per month with auto pay. Additional restrictions apply. See boostmobile.com for details.
In San Jose, partly cloudy overnight, lows near 60 degrees.
Weather brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Your neighborhood Ashley store has all the styles, selection, and value you'll need to invite fall in this season. Find furniture you'll love by shopping locally or visit ashley.com today.
Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome to you here on a Wednesday afternoon. Damon and Ratto. Everything we do is on the Odyssey app. Everything we do is clearly on 95.7 The Game, the good old-fashioned terrestrial radio way. From 3 to 6 o'clock, everything we do is on Twitch and on YouTube as well. We are streaming. Come on in and see one of my 7 Indiana t-shirts, which I basically rotate throughout the week. Not a lot of variety. Jillian was rubbing me. She's like, these things are now on like Twitch and YouTube. Don't you have to start dressing better? And I'm like, nah, it's still a radio show. I don't care. Turn your mic on. God bless you.
I was just enraptured by Jillian trying to lecture you on fashion.
Well, she knows more about it than I do.
Well, no, I know, but she's like trying to educate a pig.
Thank you.
Well, I'm just saying, what do you wear? You wear one T-shirt 7 times, or 7 T-shirts that are exactly the same 7 times?
There's a lot of repeats. I mean, how much more? How much different does one red IU T-shirt look from the other 5 that I have?
Well, they're all the same one.
It's pretty much. The way that I tell most of my T-shirts apart is by the armpit staining. It's like counting rings on an oak tree.
See, for me, it's the height in the hamper.
The
higher up you are, the less soiled it probably is.
Yeah. I always like to say, hey, I'm helping, conserve water and conserve energy and save on soap, because I'll rock a T-shirt 4 or 5 times before it hits an hamper if I'm not sweating that day.
Yeah, I'm sure Jillian is delighted by that.
Yeah, she loves it. She insists. She's like, let's go ahead and wash that up. I'm like, just trying to help.
That's why the kids have that funny look when you say, "Come here to Daddy."
That's why Daddy has the funny smell.
Thanks, Dad. How about working some soap here first?
The old-fashioned Comcast Business text line brings up a pretty good point here. And there was something else that I was going to get into. Because if there's predictable and bad offense, if you're ever looking for someone who comes from a fan base, someone who grew up a Bears fan could tell you all about that. I mean, I do implicitly know what having to win through only an offensive line, a great defense, and some special teams looks like. Somebody here from the 650 says, guys, there's no big difference between Kyle's offense and Jim Harbaugh's offense with the 49ers. I would say you're right. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Harbaugh's didn't have an element of more dynamic to it. I'd be really surprised. Because to me, I think that there is an element of conservative to the point of, well, now you're almost shooting yourself in your foot with your offensive conservatism that follows Kyle week to week, game plan to game plan. Never really thought that about Harbaugh. And this is going not through the Colin Kaepernick is surprising everybody in the league, Jim Harbaugh. I'm talking about Alex Smith, Jim Harbaugh. Alex Smith with skills that are maybe more to draw a straight line in between, certainly, well, him and Jimmy Garoppolo than Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick. I think there's something there. And I don't think that that's necessarily a good thing for the 49ers, because Kyle Shanahan was supposed to represent a broader horizon of offense. And I feel like our vision has gotten a little more narrow. Now, when narrow's working, that's fine. Like, you don't need to show me the 5th page of your playbook if the first 2 pages are working like gangbusters. And for an awful lot of Kyle's tenure here, the first 2 pages, Ray, they worked like gangbusters. He had that running game, which the entire NFL admired. He was able to generate big chunk plays all over the field. They're doing less of that now because I believe that the league can study someone so much that they know everything about him. And I think maybe Kyle has to admit, I've been so studied and copied that I might need to change things up a little bit, because, boy, the kids that are taking my test didn't just come in with all the answers. They know what the questions are.
The texter, and I can't believe I'm saying this out loud where people can hear it, is right, though. The 49ers under Jim Harbaugh were 19th in rushing, 3rd in rushing, 8th in rushing, 4th in rushing. And that's yards per game and yards per play. He ran the ball a lot more than he passed it. He was not an intrepid play caller. But I think the one difference is he would color outside the box from time to time. He would go for it on 4th down when it didn't always merit going for it. And that was at a more conservative time in terms of sort of punt philosophy. So I think, for the most part, that guy's right. I assume it's a guy. Shame on me for assuming that, but...
They, them, Ray. Let's keep it safe.
I have enough trouble with correct pronouns. I think Jim Harbaugh coached Big Ten football when he was here too. So I don't think he's far off.
Shanahan coaching Big Ten football? A little bit, but not all the time. He'd use his fullback more.
I mean, the truth is, you saw a relatively modern offense in the first half of that game Sunday night. You didn't see a ton of points. That's the great flaw. But they were doing a number of different things. It's when he's got a lead that all of a sudden he goes, I don't know that I can afford to take a chance here. And I think that's probably because he's learned that when you take chances with this quarterback and this offensive line, you get into more trouble than it's worth.
We're going to get into who might point the finger more at the other guy in the Niners documentary that hasn't been filmed yet in just a little bit. But a few more calls coming in here from Thomas in San Francisco. Thanks for the call, Thomas. Thanks for listening. You're on with Damon and Ratto. What can we do for you?
Yes, sir. Hey, I want to see if I can get this off. I just don't know what Kyle Shanahan is doing. He could have the team that he had before as the Falcons. He could have drafted a lineman. He could have drafted a big receiver like Julio. This is what we're missing. We have a Ronnie Wright and Brandon Ayuk. We have something new in Debo, and we could have a Tony Gonzalez and George Kittle, and we have a good running back.
Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Is that what you're talking about?
Either one, either big type receiver that like Julio, and like I said, we got Ronnie White and Brandon Ayuk, and we got Tony Gonzalez somewhat if we could get in George Kittle and a decent running back, just like the Falcons, and an okay quarterback like Jimmy G and Matt Ryan. I don't know. Maybe it's too much going on in his head or too much on his shoulders. Maybe I don't know, but we have all the pieces that we need, except for that big type receiver that go downfield and the lineman to help out Trent Williams.
Well, I tell you, the lineman used to be in the huddle. His name was Laken Tomlinson, and I thought letting him walk away for any price was the wrong decision. I think that might come back and haunt what the Niners' grand plans are more than DeForest Buckner's absence is going to haunt what their plans are, because hopefully Kinlaw or just a bevy of rotating defensive linemen can make up for what DeForest Buckner was for this team. And I think in many ways we've seen it happen. Like the 49ers have officially lost DeForest Buckner, but have not lost their reputation along that defensive line at all. The big play receiver, yeah. I mean, every single NFL team's looking for him. You know, it's very easy to say, well, we need our Julio. Well, everyone needs a Julio. The Falcons are now officially looking for their next Julio.
You don't think Cordero Patterson is that guy?
Probably not. But look, everyone's looking for that player. Every football team in the world gets better with a 6'5" beast of a human, just pulling passes down with a catch radius that looks like I don't know, what's something that's got a big radius, Ray? First thing comes to the sun. The catch radius, the size of the sun. Yeah, give me one of those guys. And yeah, I do think that they're missing a guy like that. But isn't Debo supposed to be that? Isn't Debo getting paid like that now? The answer is certainly yes to that. So, and then even if you had that, do you then have the quarterback who can get him the ball? And do you have the offensive line who can protect the quarterback in time to get that ball down the field? And it all goes together.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much about offense that Kyle Shanahan doesn't know. So the people who say, well, he can't coach, well, that's just stupid.
Right.
You know, that's the sound of an idiot making noise. If there is a deficiency in the offense, it is that the general manager has not done well enough by the head coach. Because, I get that they didn't, okay, you didn't get Jamar Chase because you needed the quarterback more. That's fine. But it's the fact that the things that really are irksome about the offense, most notably the offensive line, is no better now than it was 5 years ago. And you have plenty of opportunities to make that better. He hasn't gotten the right guys. I mean, they've drafted offensive linemen, but they haven't gotten what they're after to run the full panoply of offense that Kyle Shanahan purports to want. I mean, that's how hard it is to build a great offense. You have to have a bunch of different guys at a bunch of different positions. It isn't, give me a big skill guy and give me a guy with a big arm.
I mean, they've spent early and premium picks on this offensive line. Mike McGlinchey, Aaron Banks.
Yeah.
Other guys have been found and have performed well from later in the draft, and that's what you're hoping. But, yeah, I mean, too much Daniel Brunskill. Not to put it on Daniel Brunskill.
No,
like
I mean,
he's the center of the problem.
He's served admirably given what he is. But,
Colton McKivitz?
Yeah,
We'll see
he's no Quentin Nelson. I mean, who is? But that's the point. You can't have home runs in every time you pick somebody. You just can't have, huge mistakes. And when you're talking about an offensive line, you cannot have a whole chunk of it, namely everything east of the left tackle, as a problem.
Somebody says, wrong. Jets,
Okay.
not you wrong, but Jets media is already complaining about Laken Tomlinson. Well, Laken Tomlinson playing next to Trent Williams, there was nothing to complain about. And Laken Tomlinson played more snaps, I believe, over his time with the Niners than any other San Francisco 49er. The guy was always there.
Players are not Lego pieces. You put them in a different situation, they're either better or worse. They don't stay the same.
Mo from Oklahoma City, OKC. Mo, what do you got? This better not be about Durant. We've done that.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
We got you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, hindsight, of course, is always 20/20. And if you look at both teams that the Niners lost to, both in the Super Bowl and in the NFC Championship, one thing they had in common was an elite man in the middle of that interior defensive line.
I tell you what, Mo, your phone is breaking up, and I'm sorry that it's breaking up. Give us a call back. We'll try to get to you. Maybe you're in the middle of Oklahoma and there's no tower. I don't know. Look, here's what I can tell you. That when the Niners had gotten bounced in the Super Bowl and in the NFC title game, the team that bounced them was the best team in football that year. I don't know if that helps you sleep better at night. But I've always thought if you got to lose, it's better to lose to the champ. Because at least you know for sure, well, that was a really good team because they're the champions. So I'll give the Niners a little bit of a pass there.
There are a lot of reasons to give them a pass. I mean, they have not underachieved by any means.
Right.
It's just that through these first three games, the offense has been lower fifth.
It's amazing the difference between a 3-0 start, a 2-1 start, a 1-2 start, and an 0-3 start. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is just the way that teams who are sitting at 1-2 right now are just looking down at the Raiders going like, ugh, you're just untouchable. Ugh. Like, I mean, you're not far away from being 0-3 yourself at 1-2.
Although the way they won their one, they won it with great ease and comfort, which is probably part of what's so maddening. I mean, 27 points is 27 points. That's a pretty good haul on a day. But it's the 10 and the 10 that surround it, and it's the way they got to 10. And even if you want to put the asterisk on the first game because it was played in Fort Myers, it's still 10. Because for the first half, that was a playable field. And if there is a common thread here, it's that the 49ers don't put people away early so that they can try more stuff, and so that Kyle Shanahan doesn't have to be the guy who says, I have to protect this lead at all costs.
One of the guys that Kyle Shanahan entrusts to protect leads at all costs is middle linebacker Fred Warner. He joins us at 5 o'clock here on 95.7 The Game. And right now I can tell you that this defense, it's going to have to be the calling card. As opponents begin to improve, as yet again, here we are spinning our wheels in the mud that is this offense is a work in progress. This defense is going to have to lead the way, and so far, they have been. Number 1 in the NFL against the pass through 3 games. They were number 4 against the run. They're allowing 227 yards per game. That's the second best in football. The defense allowing 12 points per game over its first 3 weeks. That's the third best in football. Just handle your business. Don't turn the ball over. Score 17 to 21 points, and that's how you're going to have to take your chances from here on out. When the documentary comes together one day, Ray, it's going to be fascinating. Like when everyone is far enough away from the topic where they actually become comfortable talking about it. The side-by-side shot of Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan is going to be fascinating. When Jimmy and Kyle reach the end of their road together and they're ready to talk, who do you think dislikes who more? And I know that there is an element that they both do like each other. If there was a level of dislike that dominated how they felt about each other, Jimmy would not still be here. There's no way Kyle's ego would let him stay around someone so closely that he did not like on some level. So there's no doubt that there is an element of a healthy relationship between Kyle and Jimmy Garoppolo, but there's also a little of the toxic buildup that always comes when you know that your spouse is cheating on you or is prepared to leave you for another. There's always an element of, well, what happened? What did I do wrong? Look at all the success that we might have had together. Who's the more guilty party? Who's going to more point the finger at the other guy saying, we didn't accomplish what we wanted to accomplish because of that guy?
I'm not ducking the question, but I'm not sure that that's the dynamic here, because they did accomplish things together, and when Shanahan wanted to get rid of him, he couldn't, and now he's got to be with him another year. So that however this ends up, they're both going to go out the way they thought they would go out, which is Garoppolo playing every game for Shanahan. Now, I think there would have been much more bitterness on Garoppolo's part if they had moved him or if they had cut him. But the fact is, they're in a shotgun marriage that they've both kept together for the better part of 5 years, and it's going to end that way.
But part of this shotgun marriage is Kyle pointing it at Jimmy saying, get off my porch.
Yes, but Garoppolo then in turn said, okay, I'll get off your porch. Help me get off the porch. There are no stairs to get off the porch. And by the time, Lance got hurt, there was no porch left. I mean, circumstances have wedded them together to the point where I don't know that they have anything to fight about. Yeah, there was some humiliation in the offseason, but it was largely tempered by the fact that humiliation failed because Garoppolo's still here and he's still getting every snap. And however it happened, Garoppolo could say, well, you tried, but you couldn't. So where are we?
By the way, the type of porch that Jimmy's most comfortable on? Screens. A screened-in porch. It's terrible.
I'm appalled. And I appall easily. I just think that they are, that all the opportunities to resent each other have now been cleared by, we're stuck together and we're going to have to survive together. We don't have time to, enjoy the fruits of, late career revenge. I think they're glued together at the forehead, whether they like it or not.
Somebody says we need to win something for us to get that movie. We do need that movie. We do need that documentary.
Well, it can't be a 30 for 30 because they don't score 30.
And it can't be The Last Dance because they never really danced the dance of total victory. The last, I don't know, what would the never won a Super Bowl Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Shanahan documentary be called?
The Shining.
Why?
Because I get to see Kyle Shanahan stick his head through the door and yell, "Here's Johnny."
Who's at the end of this documentary? You and I can so rarely talk movies. This is exciting.
Yeah, well, this is one of the very few I remember.
Who is Jack Nicholson sitting in the hedge maze, frozen to death with the axe in his hand? Is it Kyle or is it Jimmy?
I would say it's probably Garoppolo, because when he's done with football, Shanahan won't be.
Does that make Kyle Shanahan Shelley Duvall?
I suppose, though, that doesn't. It's not a convincing casting. I have a feeling it may make.
Who's the Red Rom kid? Is that Parag?
No, it's Jed.
Jed's the Red Rom kid.
Yeah.
No, Jed's got to be the manager of the Overlook Hotel. Grady, the guy who talks to him, and the ghost in the bathroom, who says, "You know what you need to do? You need to stab your entire family in the head, neck, and face."
There's a lesson in that.
I've always wanted to go to that hotel. I've always wanted to see it with my own two eyes.
Like you always wanted to go to the
I'm not going to bring the
shower in
kids. Not gonna
Psycho?
bring the kids. Yeah, no, sure, I would go to the Bates Motel. I'm surprised that they haven't opened up a Bates Motel that you can actually stay in on the Universal lot right in front of the home.
I don't know that they haven't.
Dude, the amount of morbid curiosity that runs throughout the whole, like, for pleasure, I listen to podcasts about mass murderers. You'd think the Bates...
Another musical comedy.
Yeah, you'd think the Bates Motel would be an actual thing. Maybe it is. Got any inside Bates Motel information? We'd love to hear from you, and we need to hear from you. Before we get to Close But No Cigar, man, we'll come back with maybe a few of these names when we return here, and we want to remind you that at 5 o'clock, the man in the middle of all of this defensive acumen is Fred Warner, and he joins us at 5 o'clock here on 95.7 The Game. It's Damon, it's Ratto, and we are brought to you by Fremont Bank, full service banking, no compromises.
Willie Nelson and family are on the road again, live in concert.
On the road again.
With the Avett Brothers.
There ain't no man can save me.
Black Pumas.
If there's a fire.
Larkin Poe, Particle Kid, and more at the 2022 Outlaw Music Festival Tour. Friday, October 14th, Shoreline Amphitheater. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. The Outlaw Music Festival Tour, part of the Allegiant Always concert series, produced by Live Nation.
The Black Keys Dropout Boogie Tour. October 5th, Shoreline Amphitheater.
They wanna get my gold on the ceiling.
With special guests, Band of Horses, and the Velveteers. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. The Black Keys Live and Loud, produced by Live Nation.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
Does your heart long to wander? To encounter colorful creatures from the deep blue sea and amazing animals from the Amazon and beyond? Feed your wild heart. Travel the world right here in San Francisco. Make your reservation to the California Academy of Sciences at calacademy.org. See rare specimens, ancient fossils, and more at our new exhibit, Hidden Wonders.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter.com/find.
The Grand National Rodeo at the Cow Palace, October 7th and 8th. Don't miss the action of bronc and bucks, bareback riding, stair wrestling, bull riding, and more. Get your tickets for the Grand National Rodeo at the Cow Palace today at cowpalace.com.
We are all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. September is World Ozone Month, so it's a great month to get rid of all your aerosol sprays and harsh cleaning products. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-200-1966. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-200-1966. That's 800-200-1966 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
Have you ever hired a commercial painting company, then been stuck managing your own project? Hi, this is Matt Jesse, president of MB Jesse Painting. We know how busy you are and that you need professional painters who are actually professionals. My team has the experience, training, and credentials to get the job done. If you've been waiting for the right time to paint, this is it. Call 855-MB-JESSE today or visit us online at mbjesse.com.
MB Jesse.
If you were lied to when buying a timeshare and want out, you need my help. Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started the timeshare cancellation industry by exposing the ugly truth about timeshare and giving folks the straight facts. I've been fighting the timeshare giants ever since, so no one knows this industry better than me and my team. Today, we have 383 employees and have saved our clients an average of $65,000 in lifetime payments. Imagine putting those timeshare dollars back in your pocket. If you were told at a timeshare presentation that this was available today and today only, that timeshare was a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, call my office now. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-613-5454. 800-613-5454. 800-613-5454.
Now back to Damon and Ratto. Brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
Anything you might need, anything you might be curious in, any element of fantasy football, actual NFL football, any team-specific football podcast you'd like to listen to, you can find it all on the Odyssey app, which you download, where you get your favorite podcasts, which is obviously the internet. Go there. You'll find it all. It is really good to have you here today. I asked what would indeed the Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Shanahan 30 for 30 be named, and Ray said they never scored 30 points. Very good. But there are a couple of ideas. Fantone24 among our YouTube chatters says it should be called The Last Pantsed. Oh, yeah, maybe. Somebody here named Rob on the good old-fashioned text line said right through his Shanahans. The Kyle Shanahan story. That might have to be it. That might have to be it. Right through his Shanahans. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad.
What else you got? And I realize I'm asking something I really don't want, but go ahead.
That's it. If it's going to be a fight, if it's going to be a documentary about who didn't like each other more, another person from the 408 says, just call it Where's the Beef? A lot of, instead of Last Chance, Last Dance, Last Chance. It's a humiliation sensation. Again, they weren't humiliated. They just haven't delivered everything you wanted them to.
Yeah,
to have and to have not.
I mean, that's the other thing is, the people who have enjoyed themselves complaining about this marriage don't want to remember the fact that this has been a pretty good marriage by most NFL standards. It's just a weird one.
Yeah. I mean, when healthy, success has been found. Ultimate success? Have you officially splashed into the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? No. 650 with a late clubhouse entry. Maybe call it the Last Lance. Not bad. By the way, speaking of the Last Lance, we have about 500 Trey area signs here at the station. What are we supposed to do with those? I guess we can sit on them till next year.
Exactly.
There we go.
Boy, that's a great question.
So we're prepared.
Next year might not happen, though.
We're prepared. What do you mean might not happen?
Hey, what if they run deep again? Brock Purdy.
Jimmy time.
I'm willing to consider any and all options with his goofball team.
Somebody on Hype says it should be called the winning percentage. Yeah, there is a good winning percentage. Very good. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with those Trey Lance placards.
Yes, you do. Dumpster.
Do you realize the budget of at least $85 that was spent on those, and we're not in the business of saying goodbye to $85 printing budgets, Ray?
No, they'll just take it out of your next paycheck.
Oh, super duper. That's great.
Never question their ability to take your money.
A truer statement has never passed your lips. I've been given some breaking news, though. I'm very happy to report to you that coming up at 5 o'clock, we are indeed having Fred Warner. After we talk to Fred and then talk about some of the things that Fred and Ray and I talk about, I've been told by Lucas, who has already put his own 2 ears on this, that we have nothing short of the single greatest call in the history of Jaime Moreno's Spanish language broadcasting career for the Carolina Panthers. For those of you who've been around a long time, wait a minute, why are they hugging in the Yankee dugout? Tremendous. Is that a replay of last night's game?
Doesn't matter. Nothing happened.
Okay. The Yankees are hugging like they just did something. They clinched last night. I do know that.
They're up 3-0.
Okay.
Judge has not been in evidence.
Okay. So
he's walked.
I just thought. Maybe something happened. Whenever Aaron Boone is looking for men to kiss, I assume something happened.
That might have been from last night.
Jaime Moreno, as you all know, is the Spanish language broadcaster. Well, maybe not as you all know, but as you longtime listeners know, is a Spanish language broadcaster who we absolutely fell in love with when the Carolina Panthers came into Levi Stadium to play the Broncos in the Super Bowl. The calls that this guy produced that year specifically were fantastic. The greatest Jaime Moreno call of all time is what Lucas tells us we now have. We also have a little slice of Bill Belichick. I want to play that for you now. Bill Belichick was asked about Mac Jones today. Mac Jones has a high ankle sprain. Count the high ankle sprains. This, by the way, was edited by, was it NBC Sports Boston? Is that where we got it, Grandy?
That's where we got the idea from, but there was some annoying music in the background, so I just took it upon myself and edited it myself without the music.
Great.
Okay. Now, do you have the dings in there?
I have the dings in there.
All right, here we go. This is an incredible 59 seconds to spend with Bill Belichick.
Saw Mac a little while ago. Definitely getting better. Probably won't practice today, but made a lot of progress here in the last, 48 hours. Keep plugging away and take that day by day, see how it goes.
Do you expect Mac to start on Sunday for you guys?
Take it day by day. Brian's got a lot of experience. He's done everything that we would want to do. Mac be able to do it, with, I think, minimal practice if that was what it was. Just take it day by day. We're not really doing anything differently. Day by day, Phil. Day by day. That's the plan. Day by day. Day by day is getting better. See how it goes. Day by day.
Does he have a high ankle sprain?
Day by day. What do I look like? A doctor? An orthopedic surgeon? I don't know. Talk to the medical experts.
What do the medical experts on staff say?
Day by day. We'll evaluate him. What difference does it make to me? What do you think I'm going to read the MRI? That's not my job. So, yeah, it's day by day. It's getting better day by day.
Oh, it's performance art. You can hang his press conferences in the Louvre. You really could.
He's laughing. He's having a good bit of sport with the fellas.
Absolutely, he's enjoying himself. Not since we saw the dog representing the entire New England Patriot front office in the draft in front of the laptop in the dining room has something so charming happened from the land of Bill Belichick. That was great. And let me just, as we get closer and closer and closer to, I want to remind you again, Fred Warner at the top of the hour, as we get closer to the NBA season, and by the way, the Warriors have touched down in the land of the rising sun. They are in Japan right now. I'm sure they're all listening to us. Odyssey app, take us anywhere. They're getting ready for, the Washington Wizards? Is that who they're playing a couple of exhibition games? And when are they, 3 a.m. Friday? That's when they tip off? Are we carrying that sucker live?
We are taking it live 3 a.m. Friday morning, and then we are also replaying it at 6 p.m. So for most normal people who will be awake at 6 p.m. and not 3 a.m., you can hear it relatively live, kind of live, but also on tape delay, 6 p.m.
We don't want to move up that, 1 hour and maybe give us a little jump on the weekend? No? Okay, fine, 6 o'clock it is.
Bastards. And I do mean bastards.
Let me just tell you, as the NBA season is approaching, we're not going to get a great season from the San Antonio Spurs, but we are going to get a great season from Greg Popovich. If you have not seen some of the Greg Popovich Media Day presser, oh my God, it's fantastic. Greg Popovich is officially, not that he ever lived comfortably in the mansion of, I'm worried about what I'm going to say, but he now officially lives in the I don't care what I'm about to say neighborhood that he's always flirted with. He's always been checking out real estate in that neighborhood. Greg Popovich has had it with formal back and forth with media. Had it. And it was an incredible performance. The other thing that we haven't talked about at all, Ray, did you see any of that Brooklyn Nets media day?
Yes, I did.
That thing was freaking interesting. That was weird. Durant trying to talk his way around it. You have basically Kyrie Irving remaining the sport's most quotable idiot, wrapping himself in just moronic decisions, and he wears them like a badge of honor. You got Steve Nash and Sean Marks kind of looking at each other saying, how do we get better here? Ben Simmons is now in the mix. If nothing else, the Nets are going to be fascinating. I'll give them that much.
I watched it, and I was already sick of them by the end. And they didn't even have Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons had talked 2 days earlier, and they asked how many threes he was going to take, and he goes, I can't say it without cursing. But he said, I don't know, which is to say none. So they'll still get the same
Steve Nash says he doesn't care if he shoots a jump shot ever as a net.
Yeah.
He's versatile. Well, not that versatile if he doesn't shoot any jump shots.
No, this is a team of extraordinary talents that don't mesh at all. At all. I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't win the Eastern Conference.
Let's see, though.
Except that they're them.
I mean, let's see. Let's see it all. I'm not here to tell you what they might be because I haven't seen them actually play well or even like each other for a single day together. So let's see if that actually happens. But when it's all said and done, ladies and gentlemen, he is coming.
First name Stephen, last name Curry. He came into my life, now everything is less blurry.
3 a.m. Friday morning. Steph Curry's going to be hitting threes. Not just for us, but for everyone. Steph doesn't just hit threes for the Golden State Warriors. He hits them for the planet. It's his gift. It's like Johnny Appleseed. Instead of walking through the world, planting apple trees, he's just giving out threes. You get a 3. You get a 3. You get a 3. I give threes. The man gives us threes.
No, he takes threes.
He takes threes. You're right. But he's not taking them from us. He's taking them for us.
Well, for you anyway. I don't care.
Oh, yes, you do.
First name Stephen, last name Curry. He came into my life, now everything is less blurry. Oh, Steph Curry, Steph Curry, Steph.
Love
Helping
it.
me out, turning me into the best.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm ready for a little hoops. I'm not going to lie. It's great that the NFL is back. Thank God baseball's almost exiting stage left, or at least the baseball that we have to pay the most attention to. By the way, congratulations, Logan Webb. Won his 15th game of the season, career high last night. Some celebration of Jaime Moreno coming up in our 5 o'clock hour. Looking forward to that. A What If Wednesday. What if I told you that instead of a What If Wednesday, we might have some Jaime Moreno for you? Would you be excited about that? I hope you would be. But what you have to be the most excited about as a Bay Area fan is the fact that we're about to talk to Fred Warner here as we enter our 5 o'clock hour on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free.
Inside the 49ers locker room is brought to you by Harris Ranch Beef. Visit your local Chavez supermarkets for all your beef and tailgate needs. In his 5th season now, Fred Warner has turned himself into one of the best linebackers in the NFL, and he's the man in the middle for your San Francisco 49ers. In his 5th season already. Fred, time flies when you're just whooping butt, doesn't it?
Man, it flies. It sure does. But it's been a great ride. Seriously, it's still going strong, man. We're, I just love playing for this organization. Love playing this game, and it always presents different challenges, which is always fun too.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time. Before we get into you, the team, and how everyone is playing, how's your body feeling after 12 quarters of NFL football this season?
Yeah, no, it feels great. I would hope it would. Only 3 games into a long season, so it feels great.
This defense has been pretty dominant through 3 weeks. What do you think has been the best part of your side of the ball so far?
Yeah, I think everyone just really playing together, playing hard. We preach, swarming to the football. I think that's what separates us from a lot of different teams is you turn on that tape and you're going to see all 11 flying to the ball every play. We play assignment sound football. We don't do a whole lot, but we do it fast. We do it physical. So I really like what I've seen out of the guys.
You were critical at times of your own play last year. How different is it this year? Can you characterize that difference?
Yeah, I think just as I continue to grow, I think the great thing is I'm still young. I still have the swag and the confidence of a young guy, right? But I have that older experience now to know what I'm doing, know what offenses are trying to do to me and to our defense, and so it's a great combo right now. I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm seeing things clearly and just flying around, honestly. And I know the plays will just come to me as I go, and I keep playing hard and keep doing my job.
Fred Warner of the San Francisco 49ers here on Damon and Ratto. So I know that you were all very, very hard on yourselves after losing in Denver. Even though your side of the ball only gave up 9 points, you basically said, well, hey, we didn't cause any turnovers, so we're not about to victory lap anything here. How important do you think is the turnover to just an overall performance? Like, what is better for you guys? Holding someone to 10 points with no turnovers, or holding a team to 17 points with a turnover?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. And I think we talk about it all the time as a team, how important the turnover margin is. We always say we want to be +3, which means that our defense is taking 3 from the other team, and obviously the offense gives 0. And and forever in football, that's kind of a good indicator of winning and losing is what did the turnover battle look like. So, like you mentioned, us not getting any takeaways didn't help the team to win the game. And I'm not sure if if there's a good recipe, like, oh, should we hold them to 9 with 0 or 17, 1 takeaway, right? I think every game is unique, and I think the great part about it is you always have an opportunity, especially when you hold a team to a lower amount of points, but it's about really just finding a way to win from on any side of the ball, right? I mean, there's so many opportunities in that game for us on defense or any other phase of the team to win the game and not just, wait for somebody else to make it. And so I take pride in as a defender and our side of the ball that we always have an opportunity to not only stop the other teams from scoring points, but to also get the ball back and possibly score points for our team. So, we're looking to do that coming this week.
This coming Monday will be the first time you guys have played a team with what people regard as a high-octane offense. How different do the Rams look on tape, not necessarily just from the 3 teams you already played, but from how they looked in the championship game last year?
Yeah, I think right away, just from watching some tape early on, is they're missing a couple guys on their offensive line, from injuries, and obviously they don't have Odell like they did last year, which he was a huge weapon for them. And I also think they just lost Jefferson as well as Van Jefferson, but they did gain Robinson in free agency. Obviously, Cooper Kupp is exactly who he's always been. Matthew Stafford is exactly who he's always been. And the run game as well is they have really good running backs, and their scheme is really good. So, like you mentioned, they're a high octane offense, and we're for sure going to have to bring our A game come Monday night.
Fred, with the kind of overwhelming regular season success that you guys have had against the Rams, do you lean on that at all, or is the sting of dropping the NFC title game more of the dominant feeling in your mind around this rivalry?
Well, that's obviously what's most recent. Everybody talks about the streak we had of winning games against them, but I always look back to what's most recently happened. They've won a Super Bowl most recently, right? And this is our first opportunity to compete against them since last year. And every game is its own game, honestly, too. Even back when we, back last regular season or in previous games, you have to treat every game like it's its own game. You don't really kind of dwell on the past of what has happened. Every game is different, whether it's the Rams or Seattle or the Cardinals, all divisional games. Each one's different. So we have to treat it as it is and make sure that we're on point with our preparation.
Niners linebacker Fred Warner here on 95.7 The Game. Can you put your finger on any correlation that you have ever found or, come up with because some stat geek brought it to you or you came up with it in your own mind as to why you had so much success against the Rams?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Nobody has ever brought any information to me. I don't know exactly what it is. I think some teams just match up well. Seattle for a long time, it's been hard to beat them. They just match up well against us, and we match up well against the Rams. I don't know what to point my finger on or whatever. But like I said before, every matchup is its own matchup, and they're going to come as hungry as we are. It's going to be a battle. It's a primetime game, so it might come down to exactly what we mentioned at the beginning of this talk is the turnovers. Maybe that it could possibly just come down to that.
With all the chatter and drama that is surrounding the offensive side of the ball after 3 weeks, how grateful are you that none of it touches your unit at all? That you basically, people now sort of take your unit's excellence for granted, and that you don't have to deal with any of the outside noise?
Well, I guess you could look at that a couple of different ways. I as one of the leaders of the team, not just on defense, but this is a team. It's not just offense versus defense. It's offense and defense, and this is our team. And our team right now is 1-2. That's the reality of it. So regardless of if the offense is getting scrutinized and we might be getting a pat on the back, like at the end of the day, if we're not winning football games, then we're not doing our job. So we have to figure out ways to be better and to learn from our mistakes to ultimately win football games. That's what this is about. You're in this business to win, and at the end of it, to win a championship. So whatever we need to do to make that happen, that's what we got to do.
Can you tell us if you've noticed, and, obviously there haven't been that many reps with Jimmy this season as QB1, but do you notice anything different about him this year as opposed to other years? Now that he's been reinstalled, does it feel like you're looking at a different offense in practice than you were a couple of weeks ago when it was Trey Lance's offense?
No, I mean, Jimmy's the exact same he's always been, always a true professional at what he does. Outstanding player. And I obviously the offense is going to look different with Trey in there compared to Jimmy. Trey having the ability to obviously run the zone replays and stuff like that Kyle was scheming up. But I mean, it's all looked the same as previous years.
Has Kittle passed around a new helping of Jimmy Garoppolo beefcake T-shirts to inspire the team?
No, not yet. Maybe he needs to whip those out this week.
Why hasn't he? I mean, it seems like the obvious thing to change the team's odd luck so far. You need to lean into him.
Yeah, I'll talk with him tonight about it. Don't worry.
I mean, you're a team leader, Fred. Maybe it's up to you to print some T-shirts this year. That's all I'm saying. We don't want to put too much pressure on you. Fred Warner of the 49ers. Do you guys get antsy sitting around waiting for a Monday night football game? Would you rather play on a Sunday?
I think it's always cool just to play in prime time. I love playing a night game. This past game, in Denver was really cool, and playing a primetime game at home is always even better. So I'm really looking forward to it. Monday or Sunday, doesn't matter.
When you guys do play on a Monday night, do you spend Sunday at all watching other games, or do you just try to keep away from all the extraneous noise that comes with 14 football games?
No, yeah, I for sure watch. One, being a fan, and two, it sometimes gives me like inspiration, or I'll see something which might help me for our game on Monday. Whatever that may be. So I love to watch the other games too.
Yeah, I was wondering if just an afternoon on a couch watching football isn't like a really casual sort of around the league film study for you. I mean, that you can't be watching through a fan's eyes as much as you used to be. You must be always looking at a football game through a middle linebacker's eyes, right?
Yeah, it's a little different now, I would say, but it also is from the fans' eyes too. I mean, I truly do respect a lot of the players around the league, and it's fun to watch.
Who's your favorite watch? What is there a team so far, or a player that if they got the ball and they're in the red zone, you're not flipping the channel?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, there's so many good teams out there. A lot of good offense, a lot of good defense. It's obviously fun to watch the Bills. They're really good right now. Miami and the Eagles are off to a really hot start, so it's been fun to see that too. But all the teams. I mean, it's just cool to watch.
You sound like a red zone guy then.
There you go. Right. Whoever's hot. Yeah.
Fred Warner here on 95.7 The Game. Azeez Al-Shaair goes down for a couple of weeks here with a knee injury. How much more gets put on your plate, Andre Greenlaw's plate, with that injury?
No, I wouldn't say more gets put on our plate, by any means. I think that Azeez is an outstanding player, and having him on the field makes our group, what it is. But so it is a huge loss to us. But at the end of the day, it's next man up mentality, and whoever fills his spot, I think that they're prepared. I think everybody in our room, we have a very deep room, and the standard is the same across the board, regardless of who's out there. Azeez will be missed for the time being, but next man up always.
I mean, I think you're very much a do-it-all linebacker. You play well moving in every direction, either towards the line of scrimmage, into the secondary, or sideline to sideline. You really are. You're omnidirectional, man. You're like a joystick. So since you play like that, what makes it easier not that any of this is easy, what makes you more comfortable as a do-it-all linebacker? Having that defensive line in front of you or the job that the secondary does behind you? Which allows you to play freer in space?
Oh, man. I don't know if I could just choose. If I could just choose one, I think I'd be doing a disservice to one side or the other if I did choose. We all truly do work in unison. The defensive line, the way that they penetrate, the way that they attack, run game and pass game, it makes my job a whole lot easier. But in the back end, those are the guys I'm talking to, down in and down out in terms of coverage checks and different calls, things that we need to make sure we're in unison on in coverage in the back end or in the run game. So everything works in unison from front to back.
Now that you're a wily old veteran of 5 years, can you remember the last time a player on your side of the ball did something that amazed you?
Oh, man. I mean, shoot, probably every game somebody does something amazing, to me at least. I mean, I think Hufanga's been pretty amazing through 3 games. Some of the stuff that he's been doing, just coming off the edge. And some people might think, oh, he's just lifting off the edge and making it. No, like this, it's happening every game. You would think that people would know how to stop him by now, but you can't stop when a guy's just relentless, and playing fast and physical. It's hard to stop a guy like that. But I'd say every game somebody does something amazing. Debo Samuel's constantly doing something amazing. He's running through somebody or make some kind of cut or something. I don't know. It's pretty cool to watch.
Can you tell us, Fred, a little bit about D'Amico Ryans and how, if at all, he's different in year 2 as this team's defensive coordinator?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's much different, honestly. If anything, he's just better. He's just a better version of himself, which is the goal amongst everyone, is to always strive to be better. And he's been exactly who he's always been, the leader, the mastermind behind everything. He makes sure that he never gives us too much to handle. He keeps it simple for us so we can go out there, we can play fast, play physical. He always holds us to the standard and challenges us to push past and to push past the standard, to push the standard. So he's outstanding.
Does everything come in on an iPad or on the Microsoft Surface tablets? I mean, let's get it right. That's what the NFL would want me to do. Does everything happen on a tablet? Like, when's the last time you actually saw a chalkboard or touched a piece of chalk?
Never have I once touched a piece of chalk, especially not in the NFL. Yeah.
Things have changed.
Have you broken any tablets yet? That does seem to be the new thing this year.
Right. I mean, if the GOAT's doing it, maybe that's the thing to do, but it's not my thing.
Not yet.
Right, yes, not yet.
Since he is officially one play away from being the starting quarterback the rest of the season, how's Brock Purdy coming along?
Yeah, Brock, he looks great. Obviously we see him a lot, him being the scout team quarterback. And I really love the way he's progressing, the type of competitor that he is. He's shown a lot of poise, as a rookie quarterback since day one. It's been pretty impressive to watch, and I love competing against him day in and day out.
Does downshifting from Russell Wilson to Matthew Stafford, just in terms of how much one guy scrambles to how much the other guy is married to the pocket, does that make your job? I mean, it clearly makes the job different. I don't know if easier or harder would be the word. I guess what's harder to chase down, rocket legs or a rocket arm?
Right. No, I wouldn't say one's easier than the other. I think they're both. I mean, especially you're talking about two of the greats right there, Russell and Matt. So I couldn't choose one. I know it'll be a great challenge for us, and just like last week was a challenge for us. Every week kind of presents its own things that we have to be aware of, and Matthew is one of the best.
Having the pleasure of having met you a few times, Fred, and boy, I sure do appreciate you supporting the Guardsmen and coming on out for our sports auction earlier this year. That meant an awful lot to us that you were there. I would say that your voice matches your body. For example, Nick Bosa's voice does not match his body at all. Like it does. How did he get the Saturday walkthrough hype talk bestowed on him? And what do those sound like?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's just being one of the captains, one of the leaders of the team. Everybody, he doesn't say a whole lot, but when he does, people are tuned in because he's earning that. He has that respect amongst his teammates, and I can't give too much away of what is said, but he always just keeps it pretty, a clear cut message that he wants to give. Maybe on those Saturday after those Saturday walkthroughs, and just keeps the guys dialed in.
He's built like a dinosaur, and he's got one of the softer voices I think I've ever heard. Fred, thank you so much for joining us. Does the leadership, the captain's council, whatever you call it, do you guys have like a bowling night or a movie night or a secret handshake or anything like that?
No secret handshakes or movie nights, but we always try and find time to do some type of team bonding or camaraderie throughout the week outside of the building. So yeah, we'll see what we get up to this week.
We're going to give you a chance to do a little grilling with your leadership council because our friends at Harris Ranch Beef, Fred, are going to give you a 10-pound package of prime porterhouse steaks. And make sure you tell everyone in the locker room, you come on with Damon and Ratto, they ship you beef, delicious beef. So keep on doing it. We really, really appreciate your time. Good luck against the Rams on Monday night, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Ray, that's how we're going to continue to lure fantastic guests. Again, thanks for the 49ers for hooking us up with their captain, Fred Warner. We will dangle beef, raw beef in front of them. It works. They keep on coming back.
It's probably the only thing that works, to be honest with you. Because I think on our charm alone, we'd get crickets.
Speak for yourself.
I just did.
A few things there. I thought it was interesting that he hasn't seen anything, different from Jimmy, and he really hasn't seen much different from the offense that he's practicing against now that Jimmy is playing the role of Trey Lance. So it didn't sound, it's really weird. We keep on hearing from the coach himself and from players that there really isn't much of a difference from Trey Lance's offense to Garoppolo's offense. Yet we saw Trey Lance used in such a different way on games. I wonder what they're looking at in practice. I mean, I guess you're not running Trey Lance into the teeth of defense in practice, or if you do, you're doing it with a non-contact jersey, so it doesn't really matter as much. But for something that's supposed to be so similar, I've not seen similar, really. Because, we hardly got to see what Trey Lance is.
Yeah, I was about to say.
know.
I think that Fred Warner gave the safe answer, which is there isn't much difference. Because there's nothing to hang your hat on in terms of, wait, they do this different or they do that different. And if there was, he wouldn't say anyway. So, I think for the time being, you have to imagine that Trey Lance has never been here. Because,
it's probably the easiest way to just get yourself through it, right? You can't miss what you never really had in the first place.
Well, you can't miss what you can't define. Do we know what Trey Lance is? Do we know what Kyle Shanahan believes Trey Lance can be? We still don't have any answers to any of it. I mean, it's almost like Lance started 3 games, but was still the backup. So, I think there's not enough for even Fred Warner to put his hands around. And if there are differences, again, I don't think he'd tell. Because he is well schooled in the art of being articulately vague.
I mean, I thought he gave... I think that everyone we talk to is hand-selected to talk to us because they can do that dance with the media better than, let's just say, the players they're not giving to us.
True.
So I'm never going to hold a player guilty of that because I also think that that's a skill, and it's a skill that a player needs. It's about diffusing bombs or setting them off. and he goes about diffusing bombs as he talks.
Well, but there's a skill in not doing any of that either, because then you don't get asked, and you just don't have to worry about it. But yeah, do I believe the 49ers select their guys with that in mind? Yeah, I do. Of course I do. And I don't blame him for being articulately vague, because that too is part of the job.
No chalk? No blackboards?
Well, the fact that he's never broken a tablet, I mean, that may be an indication that he doesn't want it bad enough.
The Chicago Bears knew that they were ready to go out and play the Super Bowl in 1985 when Mongo stood up in Buddy Ryan's team meeting, picked up a chair. Remember, this is 1985, so these like old pokey metal chair legs. He threw it against the chalkboard, and the metal leg buried itself in the chalkboard. So now the entire 1985 Chicago Bears defense is looking at Buddy Ryan and a chair sticking out of a chalkboard in the belly of the New Orleans Superdome. Buddy Ryan claps his hands and said, "Meeting's over. We're ready. Let's go."
I'll tell you what. There are meetings I wish I could do that.
Like today's?
I'm not going to say. But you are certainly free to infer.
I think the 49ers are chalkboard deficient, and if they're trying to get a little bit more old school, I mean, think about it. A really conservative offense should have some chalk talk to it. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why they're 1-2.
But Ken Dorsey showed what you can do with a tablet.
Oh, did Ken Dorsey ever show us what you can do with the tablet? Did you see how well he cleaned up after himself? He cleaned up his entire work area almost instantly.
Yeah, well, you don't want to leave a mess.
By the way, Ken Dorsey is the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator who flipped his lid at the end of their loss to the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, he literally picked up his tablet as he was getting ready to leave and slammed it on the tabletop, I believe 5 times.
Somebody said, great Fred Warner interview. Did you see how quickly that the hand came in over the camera too? Like, oh no, this is on camera. We've got to cover this up.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah, sorry.
Damage done. Great Fred Warner interview. Thank you very much. Guy's a pro. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's a pro, and he's one of the best at his position in the entire league. He is state of the art. And one of the things that he did get into is how he feels, I think Fred Warner knows that he has completely arrived. And that gives him the wide berth to be even more publicly critical of himself, because that's confidence. When you're ready to point the finger at yourself, even in a great year, what I can still do better, that's confidence, that's know-how, it's all come together. Everything, all the lines that intersect to make a player as good as he can be in the prime of his career, I believe those lines are intersecting for Fred Warner.
I think they intersected last year when he did not have a great year and he was even more critical of himself. He didn't duck a question and was pretty forthright in answering it, because the only person he was burning was himself. He said, yeah, that's on me. I haven't been playing well. And that's a level of candor most athletes don't want to engage in. And he said, no, I know what I am. I know what I ought to be, and I know this ain't it. So I think last year probably was his breakthrough year in terms of self-confidence and thorough understanding of who he is and what he ought to be.
Somebody says, Damon, you don't even realize it, but you created a new drop. We will dangle beef? That's got to be a drop. Probably not.
No, really not.
Pound it, pound it, pound it, pound it.
Jaime Moreno. I'm getting excited. Can I take it? Can I just, before we got calls coming in, 888-957-9570. Would love to hear what you thought about Fred Warner, who to me is just a stabilizing force and a bumpy start to the year. I think that they know that they got to go ahead and play well this Monday night. You know, I was reading some Tim Kawakami, and he was talking about a path to a postseason. It's real simple. You got 8 home games remaining. Believe it or not, they do. They have 8 home games remaining still. They got an extra home game this year. 8 home games, 5 true road games, and 1 neutral site game in Mexico City. So you win a large percentage of your 8 remaining home games, and you go at least 500 in your 6 remaining 9 Levi's games. You'd get to that. You're 10-7, and that's usually a ticket that gets punched to the postseason. And that's still the math, by the way, with the 1-2 start. You know, they're 3-0 right now. They've basically already clinched a playoff berth. the way that the NFC looks like it's shaken out early on here. But I can tell you, the whole conversation of like, what do the Niners need to do to get back into it?
They're in it now.
Exactly. Folks, they're not out of it. They're not out of it. Now, they have suffered a couple of injuries that make you think the trap door that gets you out of this could materialize a lot faster than you think it would normally. And you're right about that. You know, you lose your starting left tackle, your starting quarterback. These are things that don't sound like great ideas to me. Then you lose a starting linebacker and Azeez Al-Shaair for a little while. These are not great starts. You lose your starting running back. These sound like trapdoors to me, but they're still on very good footing in the meantime. They really, really are. By the way, Jaime Moreno singing with yours truly and Gianna. Gianna. On Radio Row back in, what was that, Super Bowl 50? It was Super Bowl 50, wasn't it? Here's a happy Jaime Moreno because his Panthers were about to play.
Camino al Super Bowl, camino al Super Bowl. Les vamos a ganar, les vamos a ganar. Camino al Super Bowl, camino al Super Bowl. Esta es la 95.7 FM, donde está el partido de la
game.
The game.
I mean, that's a hell of a station promo right there. I don't know how we ever went away from it. God, that's great. That is great. How can the 49ers defense throw a chair through a Microsoft Surface tablet? They need a chalkboard. They need more chalk. I'm convinced.
Well, they just need the board.
Somebody
you can get a whiteboard and use those goofy, smelly markers that they have.
Yeah. What are you, a marker sniffer?
No, but when you take them off,
pick the wrong week to quit sniffing glue?
There's no wrong week to sniff glue.
Harvard Business School spent millions of dollars retrofitting their classrooms with the latest technology. The one request from teachers, just leave the chalkboards. In fact, they actually installed microphones behind the chalkboards so the sound of the chalk hitting the board becomes amplified in larger lecture halls. That is from the franchise in Danville. I did not know that. I'm glad that I do now. Thank you for sharing that. I'm telling you, man, chalkboards.
You're going to take that home, tell Jillian, and she's just going to go, you bore me.
You know what she did, though? God bless my wife, but she's got an idea that I don't know if it's the greatest idea. She got a cork board that she's going to hang in our children's room. So when they get like a ribbon or, you know, some art, you can put it on the cork board. And I just saw that and I said, honey, are you really comfortable with loose tacks around our children? Somebody's going to swallow a tack. Somebody's going to push a tack into Jack. I could see Ozzy doing that. He's going to need a weapon since he's the younger one. What do you think about random tacks around curious children both under the age of 4? What could go wrong?
It depends on the kid.
My kids.
Oh, then I'd leave boxes of them. No, that's easy to get around. You get those magnetic tacks where there's like a metal thing behind
it's a cork board, though. She bought the Johnny cork board.
No, but, well, then...
We're committed to the cork board, yeah.
No, but I've seen like cork boards, but there's a metal thing behind it, and they have these, basically, they're fasteners. They're not really tacks. They don't go into the board, but they act as a magnet.
Yes.
You just have to get them big enough so that the kids don't think they're food.
Yeah.
Let's face it, nothing that your child can reach is not danger. You need to put everything up in netting from the ceiling.
The amount of choking hazards out there in the world are something that you don't even think about, not for a millisecond of your entire life, and then you have kids and then choking hazards. It's like the Matrix. It's all you're able to see at that point.
Oh yeah, have you child-proofed the corners of your coffee tables and all that stuff?
So it's the first thing my mother did, actually. It's the first thing my mother did, actually, and it's really good because the amount of times I've seen my kids walk into the corner of this dining room table. Like, this kid Jack bumps into the corner of this table like he was a Roomba trying to vacuum up the floor. It's ridiculous.
Well, because there's no danger.
Exactly.
His grandmother made it too safe. And what did she do about the gin?
Drank it. It was a strong move.
Well, yeah.
It was a strong move. The Duchess is here watching her hometown of Sarasota, Florida, underwater today on CNN, so she's drinking, I'm sure.
But does she do it from a sippy cup?
We have plenty available. I mean, what vessel would you like to get drunk from? We are the right house for you.
I mean, because really, the only thing you really need from a sippy cup is an aperture big enough to put the ice in.
There you go. Aperture. Oh, I'm telling you, Ray. God, 50-cent words all over this show today. You used pernicious. You dropped another good P word earlier in the show today. I can't remember what it is, though, off the top of my head, so I'll just congratulate you.
Did you go to a class at college? These are not difficult words.
I'm going to say that you could listen to just about any other sports talk radio station in America today, and you're not getting a pernicious.
Oh, you know so little.
This is a pernicious-less media for the most part. Medium. Anyway, David is in Brentwood. It'd be pernicious not to talk to him. How are you, David? Thank you for calling. You're on 95.7 The Game.
No, thank you for taking my call. Damon, I'm kind of baffled by Jimmy Garoppolo. I keep wondering, how did he get so bad so quick? And then I had a chance to take a quick look at the game between the Niners and the Saints, where he had over 450 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, and they scored 45 points. How did we get to the point where he can barely go over 130 and score?
Well, here's the deal. David.
Yes.
No, well, it's just real simple. That game in New Orleans was an outlier. It wasn't the standard which he should measure up against. And honestly, and we were talking about this earlier in the show, man. Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate you calling in. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have a good game here. In his next 3 games, he's going to have a really good game. And so we'll begin the cycle of believing in Jimmy before he does something to make you not believe in Jimmy, before he does something to make you want to get rid of Jimmy, before you see what life is like after Jimmy, and then you're missing Jimmy again, and now we're back in the same cycle. It's the Jimmy cycle.
And the New Orleans game, let's not forget that the Saints had leads of 20-7 and 27-14. So there was no lead to protect.
And I think, wasn't that one of the more historically easier to move the ball on defenses we've seen in a long time? Like, that was not a good New Orleans defense at all.
No, not particularly. But, they got 157 receiving yards out of Emmanuel Sanders. Deebo Samuel was 5 for 76, might have been his first big game. He was younger. Kyle Shanahan wasn't protecting a reputation yet, and he certainly wasn't protecting a lead in the division because they were already, it was week 14. I think they were 10-3 or 9-2 or 10-3. So, he had pretty much
devil may care football.
Well, they fell behind, so he could take some chances without, oh my God, this could screw us in the playoffs.
Somebody says, no, Jimmy's not going to have that game coming up soon. His shoulder's not right. I don't know that, and you don't know it either. We haven't seen enough of it yet. I mean, we've seen enough of Jimmy Garoppolo to know what his tendencies are, and if you agree to that, he's going to have a couple of really good games this year. It's what he does. He makes you believe, then he rips your heart out. Just straight up Temple of Doom, Moram Sugaram style. Just grabs it and pulls it right out. You know those vocabulary words? Morganam, Sugaram?
I got them.
Okay. You're a Temple of Doom? You're a Temple of Doom guy?
No, you've said it before.
Oh, okay.
No, it's that was an outlier, but every once in a while conditions are such that, hey, we better get something going here. We can't do it by handing the ball off. That'll happen, but it's just the idea that they're in trouble is probably overstating it after 3 games, just because they did get a win out of one of them, and a fairly convincing one. So it's not like you have nothing but bad results in front of you.
No.
The offense did very well for 3.5 quarters in that game. It's just that
they didn't score.
Yeah, and the fact is, a lot of people, I thought, believed that they should start 3-0 because this was a fairly doughy part of the schedule. Well, they're clearly a part of somebody else's doughy schedule right now.
Bomani Jones was on our morning show today. And he might have framed what we're about to see as good as any guest has framed probably what we're likely to see here as well as anyone.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think that they can. For one, that's not a very strong division.
No.
Right.
First of all, he's talking about,
Like,
the question was simply, are they a playoff team? At 1-2, with Garoppolo back in here, with the injury to Trent Williams, as much as people are saying the sky's falling right now, are they still a playoff team, Bomani?
Oh, yeah, I definitely think that they can. For one, that's not a very strong division that they're in, right? Like, the Seahawks are, okay. The Cardinals, okay. The Rams, let's see how they get better as the season goes on. So, yeah, I think they can still make the playoffs, especially in a world now where 7 teams in each conference wind up making the playoffs. But is this a team that can win a Super Bowl? No, I have no reservations about saying that ain't something they can do.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a playoff team that doesn't win the Super Bowl. That feels about right.
But it felt about right before Lance got hurt, too.
It did.
So, essentially, there's a lot of turmoil here, but all you've done is churn up water. You're still in the same place you were.
Even though everything has changed, practically nothing's changed, with the exception of we're sure missing some chalkboards around here. Look, when we do come on back,
I'm stupefied.
I can tell you this. What if I told you we didn't prepare a What If Wednesday because we had some Jaime Moreno to share with you and just celebrate? Lucas has said Jaime Moreno's single greatest call ever happened this past weekend, and you will hear it next. Here on 95.7 The Game, we'll even wrap up with a call or two. Don't you go anywhere. We are brought to you by News Nation.
Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Cuomo premieres on News Nation Monday, October 3rd at 5 p.m. Pacific. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnation.com/join us.
Watch 95.7 The Game on Twitch and YouTube.
Jimmy can't cook. He can barely boil water.
I agree with you.
He'll never be able to cook.
I agree with you.
Let Fumo eat. You know how people be like, you can't waste Steph Curry's prime. Our defense is at a prime right now.
Yeah.
We can't let that go to waste, man.
This is
for real.
This is the Bay Area's sports station. 95.7 The Game.
Willie Nelson and family are on the road again, live in concert.
On the road again.
With the Avett Brothers.
There ain't no man can save me.
Black Pumas.
If there's a fire.
Larkin Poe, Particle Kid, and more at the 2022 Outlaw Music Festival Tour. Friday, October 14th, Shoreline Amphitheater. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. The Outlaw Music Festival Tour, part of the Allegiant Always concert series, produced by Live Nation.
The Black Keys Dropout Boogie Tour. October 5th, Shoreline Amphitheater.
They wanna get mine. On the ceiling.
With special guests, Band of Horses. And the Velveteers. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. The Black Keys Live and Loud. Produced by Live Nation.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
Attention veterans. If you were stationed at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you and your family may be victims of toxic water poisoning. Cancers, birth defects, deadly illnesses have all been linked to the contaminated water. Congress is now holding the government accountable. You could be awarded financial compensation for your suffering, but you must act now. Visit sickvets.com for your free case review by True Law. That's sickvets, like veterans.com. sickvets.com. Visit sickvets.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter.com/find.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had 2 challenges: improve their brand presence and message, and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to KansasCitySteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WEBNOW1. That's 877-WEBNOW1.
Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule an appointment when you are eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Here's what happened today on The Game. Presented by the County of Santa Clara. The Morning Roast from 6 to 9.
Stop using Debo on the jet sweeps and the end arounds and all the stuff where he's not a legitimate running back.
Willard and Dibbs from 9 to noon.
That hit me the other night, but that's what Jimmy does. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He walked out of the back of the end zone. He doesn't do that.
Anytime you pull an Orlovsky, it's the worst game you've ever had.
Steiny and Guru from noon to 3.
You cannot compare Steph to Garoppolo. If you're going to compare Steph to a quarterback, it's got to be Brady.
And Damon and Ratto from 3 to 6.
1 and 2 doesn't sound good. 1 and 3 sounds horrible. 2 and 2 sounds absolutely fantastic, all things considered.
The best of the game, presented by the County of Santa Clara. Book a COVID-19 booster shot now at sccfreevax.org or call 211. Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
All right, boys and girls, we're at the end of today's show, and I might have actually saved the best for last. I have not heard this. But we have heard plenty from Jaime Moreno throughout the years, our favorite NFL Spanish language broadcaster. He is the broadcaster of the Carolina Panthers. He has given us such gold as this.
¡Superman! ¡Mi querido dinosaurio! ¡Vuela que vuela! ¡Vuela que vuela! ¡Touchdown! 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 ¡Báilale! ¡Báilale! ¡Báilale!
You can never forget the Luke Kuechly pick six.
Ha sido una masacre defensiva la que ha hecho la Furia Felina con este equipo de Arizona el día de hoy. Nuevamente. ¡Ahí está el Touchdown! 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 Eres Luke! Eres Kitley! Luke, si la vas a salpicar, salpica la pelusa. Te invito a comer trozos de sandía, melón y papaya, terminando este partido. Pero antes, Luke, suéltame la pelusa. Pelusa por aquí, pelusa por acá, pelusa por delante, pelusa por detrás. Confesor, se las volviste a hacer.
3rd and 6.
Magnificent. I mean, magnificent. So, Jaime Moreno, forever in our hearts. Apparently, we haven't heard anything yet. Lucas, what have we got?
It's going to be hard to top those, but this one is, the quality is impeccable, and here is the play. So, the Panthers won this game this weekend against the Saints. They're now 1-2, and Laviska Shenault, who Pac-12 football fans would remember from his time in Colorado, he has just been traded just about 2 weeks ago. He has yet to catch a pass from Baker Mayfield, and he finally gets a touch. This is the fourth quarter, and this is his first touch as a Panther. Take it away, Jaime Moreno.
Baker manda sus números, tiene tiempo, se deshace de la pelota, le entrega. La Vizca va a romper por fuera. ¡Vamos! ¿La viste? ¡Vamos! A la 15, a la 20, a la 10, a la 5. ¡Métete la Vizca! ¡Hasta la Vizca! ¡Métete la Vizca! ¡Hasta la Vizca! ¡Hasta la vista! ¡Touchdown! 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 ¡La Vizca! ¡Hasta la vista! ¡Confetis y serpentinas! ¡Con fuegos artificiales! ¡Con chispas encendidas! ¡Báilale! 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 ¡Y si vas a bailar!
I mean,
6.
No, but Hasta la Vizca is incredible.
Come on.
That's absolutely incredible. And him just screaming, touchdown, 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 touchdown. That is more original than touchdown San Francisco.
Yeah.
Which is a terrible call. Let's be honest.
Well, I don't listen to football on the radio unless I'm trapped in a car. So, no, screaming touchdown about 12 times will give you the idea that something momentous has happened. Because it's literally football's version of the 45-second goal call, which has also been popularized by Spanish language announcers over the years. Because you don't get touchdown, touchdown, touchdown from any English-speaking broadcaster at all.
No.
You get they immediately turn it over to the analyst who tells you why the blocking in the A gap was so impeccable. Shut up.
Okay, so I'll tell you this right now. If someone did scream, like Gus Johnson were to scream touchdown 5 times in a row, you would hate him so much the following Monday, you'd do segments on it. You'd do segments on it.
But if he does it once, forgiven. It's the second time that he does it.
Instead, he just screams random words. I don't know if you've noticed. That's kind of what Gus Johnson does. He'll just scream, hot dog, America, apple pie, football. You've never heard that?
I never really noticed that. No.
Yeah.
We were. I can't remember what sports bar we were in, but I was with my buddy Ryan, and we were watching a Final Four game, and something happened crazy in a Final Four game, and he just starts yelling, "Sports! Sports! Sports! Sports!" Like 3 minutes later, guy at the very next table leans over, and he's like, "Did you just scream sports?" He's like, yeah, he did. He just started screaming sports. All right, I got to hear. I know that we have people on hold. I'm sorry. I love talking to people. I love that you listened. I have a choice today. I can talk to Mark in Oakland about Jimmy Garoppolo or Doug in Berkeley about Kyle Shanahan's offense. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. I don't know if we can get anything original out of you that's going to be better than Hasta la Vizca.
Baker manda sus números, tiene tiempo, se deshace de la pelota, le entrega. La Vizca va a romper por fuera. ¡Vamos! ¿La viste? ¡Vamos! A la 15, a la 20, a la 10, a la 5. ¡Métete la Vizca! ¡Hasta la Vizca! ¡Métete la Vizca! ¡Hasta la Vizca! ¡Hasta la vista! ¡Touchdown! ¡Touchdown! Touchdown! 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 La Visca! Hasta la vista! Confetis y serpentinas, con fuegos artificiales, con chispas encendidas. ¡Báilale! 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 ¡Y si vas a bailar!
Fantastic. So the best of the game is officially coming up next year. And I don't know what would do better, if we actually ran the best of the things that we did today, or if we just took that about minute-long soundbite and played it 60 times in a row.
Oh, you definitely know what you should do.
That should be, it should just be the Hasta la Visca hour coming up in lieu of best of. But I'm guessing Sterling already worked hard on it, so we'll let him do that.
No.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. The fact that you're just wanting more at 5:54, Ray, is amazing.
Well, yeah, but I'm not going to be here to hear it.
Thanks to Fred Warner for joining us. Thanks so much to Jaime Moreno for just sprinkling a little magic on our entire afternoon. Thank you very much to Lucas, to a leader in the arena, according to a meeting that I attended earlier today, Mark Grandy, for being named 95.7 The Game Employee of the Month. You get this on-air mention. Congratulations, Mark.
Thanks. It means an awful lot.
It should. Take that to the bus and see if you can get on it. You'll find
I'd show you what I'm going to give you, but we're still on Twitch.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's